old-style beer. Rayovac, batteries that turn people on. Wisconsin Tourism Development, reminding you, in Wisconsin, you're among friends. And by Special Export Light, the light beer with body and soul.
From the Dane County Memorial Coliseum in Madison, Wisconsin, it's game one of this two-game WCHA series as the champions of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, the Wildcats of Northern Michigan here in Madison at 28-5-4 to take on the Wisconsin Badgers at 24-9-3. Hello, along with Bill Howard, and we welcome you to the Coliseum. Glad you're with us for game one of this two-game series, Bill. A series that probably means more to Wisconsin.
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. Northern Michigan is pretty much wrapped up a top seed, and Wisconsin now must prove themselves, beat a team ahead of them in the standings. It'll be a real challenge. Northern Michigan, an excellent hockey team.
And we'll take you down to the Dane County Memorial Coliseum public address area. And here's John Rustad for the introduction of tonight's starting lineup.
Dane County Memorial Coliseum for the first of our two-game series with the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. And now, here are the lineups for tonight's game. For the Northern Michigan Wildcats, in goal, a sophomore from Calgary, Alberta, number 30, Rob Krulak. At left defense, a freshman from Burnaby, British Columbia, number 26, Garrett McDonald. At right defense, a senior from Two Hills, Alberta, number 5, Brad Warinka. At center, a senior from Viking, Alberta, number 14, Dean Antos. At left wing, a senior from Lloydminster, Alberta, number 15, Darrow Plandowski. And at right wing, a sophomore from Madison, Wisconsin, number 33, Joe Frederick. And now for the University of Wisconsin Badgers. In goal from Morden, Manitoba, number 29, Dwayne Dirksen. At left defense, a senior from Madison, Wisconsin, number 21, Rob Andringa. At right defense, a junior from Duluth, Minnesota, number 6, Sean Hill. At center, a junior from Port Moody, British Columbia, number 12, Doug McDonald. At left wing, a senior from Eagle River, Wisconsin, number 27, Dennis Sneddon. And at right wing, a sophomore from Madison, Wisconsin, number 26, Barry Richter. Now, before our national anthem, would you please join me in a moment of silence for a quick resolution of the conflict in the Middle East and the safe return of the men and women serving in our armed forces.
For our commercial stations, we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Dear Rayovac.
That says good luck to the Hockey Wildcats. EQ Muffler has served Marquette County for 54 years and is still family-owned. That's EQ Muffler, 250 East Hampton in Marquette. Call 226-2131. And the Marquette Catholic Credit Union wishes the Hockey Wildcats the best of luck. The Marquette Catholic Credit Union has served Marquette for many years and is with the community in cheering the Cats on.
The Heartland. Nowhere in America is the dream to be the best any stronger. It's here where old-style beer is brewed. Brewed with the purest artesian spring water. Brewed with the most expensive, most natural method called krausening. but most importantly, brewed with a dream. Not to be the biggest beer in America, just the best. Reach for the best.
There should be a sellout crowd here at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum tonight to watch the champions of the WCHA, their first title ever. And our congratulations to Northern Michigan. This will be the 36th meeting between the two schools in hockey. Wisconsin does lead the all-time series, having won 20 games. 7 of the last 15 games, Bill Howard, have gone into overtime.
Well, the teams have been very competitive, but in the 2 games in Northern Michigan, it was 6-1, 4-2 Northern. However, they have not lost a game in their rink for 2 years, so it's very difficult to play at Northern Michigan. They've done a great job. The referee, again, is Bob Ames. He had the series in Northern Michigan, Paul, and he called, in one night, he had 38 penalties were called, so you can anticipate that he'll call it close.
Northern Michigan has not lost a hockey game this year. Can you believe that? They're 14-0-2 in their last 16 games.
However, in the Coliseum, they've struggled somewhat. They're only 4-9-2 Paul, so this has been a tough rink for them to play in, just like it's been tough for the Badgers to win in Marquette. But they're an outstanding team, a very well-coached team, very disciplined team, probably the most aggressive forwards that you'll see in the league, and they really go to the net hard away from the puck ball.
Bill, and we should mention they have decided not to play Bill Pye tonight, their outstanding goaltender who has 23 wins on the year. Instead, it's going to be Rob Krulak out of Calgary, Alberta, a 5'11", 160-pound sophomore with a goals against average of .277. You think it's just a case of they've got the title wrapped up, so you give Bill Pye a rest?
Well, I think there's some logic behind it. I think they feel pretty solid in their position in the West in the playoffs. They realize they're going to be at home for the playoffs, and they're going to make it to St. Paul, and that in all probability this series won't have much of an effect in terms of how they fare in the NCAA final polls and so on. But I think they'll play hard, and I think Krulak's a little bit better than you probably anticipate, Paul. He's got a goal against .277. So I don't think there's a great drop-off there.
What we're saying, I guess, is from top to bottom, Northern Michigan is an outstanding club, as reflective by their 28-5-4 record overall. But more importantly, Bill, the stat that really stands out, only 3 losses in the WCHA. And we're underway from the Coliseum at Madison, and it's going to be set up at center ice along the near boards. Both teams trying to get control of the puck. With it is McDonald, dropping it back in the Wisconsin zone. 1936 remaining, knocked down in the neutral zone, and dumped back down to the right wing corner of the Badgers zone. Andringa back up to set it up behind the net. And the puck comes loose as McDonald out with Sneddon and Richter for the Wisconsin Badgers. Richter sliding it down to the corner on the left side. It goes in behind Krulak. Krulak gives it to Wawrinka, and Wawrinka will stick handle with the puck, comes to center ice, goes on the right wing, in over the line, trying to go to Sabo, and he fired it up over the glass and out of play.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the line matchup goes. Of course, Coach Sauer has the last change, and they have 2 very, very offensive lines, Beatty's line and Anto's line, very offensive line, and those are the 2 lines that you must shut down for Northern Michigan.
And Antos is on the center ice position with Flandowski and Joe Frederick out of Madison, Wisconsin, playing right wing on that line. Beatty centers Hiller and Scott on another line. Badgers come in over the line, and with it is Jason Zent. Zent goes in behind the goal, down to the corner on the left side, goes back to the point of the play. Badgers have Zent out with Kurtz and Granado. Malone with the puck, bumped in the corner by Granado. Badgers on the right wing, down to the Wildcats zone. And it's played around the boards on the far side as Ward tried to bring it out. Badgers look to hold it in. Puck loose as Zent bumps his man down to the corner of the right side. Malone along with Ward try to bring it loose. And Northern Michigan will regroup as they go behind the net with Sukharov. Sukharov plays it on the right wing, trying to move it up ice. And the Badgers knock it down. Granado back into the line of Northern Michigan. Tried to work his way free, and the puck comes loose at the left point of the Northern Michigan zone. Adam Malone plays it back into Badger zone, broken up by Sykes. Sukharov took it away, carried it back in over the line of Wisconsin. Tried to go backdoor on the tip, just wide of Dirks, and the puck loose down back in behind, and it goes to the left wing boards in the corner. Dodgers turn and try to bring it out of the zone. Both teams at full strength, coming in over the line. On the left side, with it is Snedden down in the corner. Snedden is bumped along the board. Richter came over to help out. Back to the point, over to Sykes with a drive. And Krulak made the save, and it will have a stoppage. And Richter in front of the net.
With Hiller, and Hiller on the backside ball, wide open, and just tipped it wide behind Dirksen. We talked about Northern Michigan's ability away from the puck to go to the net hard, and you have to cover that man. You can see Hiller all alone, driving the net hard. Nobody stayed with him. Sykes with a good drive from the left point, but he got it up too high, Paul. It was an easy save for Krulak, but you've got to protect their offside wing. Hiller really went to the net hard and just flew away from the Badger back checker and backside defenseman.
Rick Connolly certainly has to be the leading candidate for Coach of the Year in the WCHA, at least in my estimation. The guys have done good jobs, though, in coaching this year in the league. Face-off coming up with 17:41 remaining here in the first period of play. No score from the Coliseum. Snedden on the draw to Wendringa. Tipped by McDonald. Wide of the net. Goes around the boards to Scott. Played by Wawrinka. And it's going to be picked up by Hiller. He turned and tried to give it to Beatty. Beatty leads the nation in goal scoring with 38 goals for number 17. He has 70 points on the year. And the puck is going to be set up, trying to move it down to the left wing corner. Richter over to set it up. Richter is bumped and checked along the board. Sean Hill trying to pick it up. And it's loose at center ice with 17:10 remaining in the scoreless first period. Wawrinka and McDonald paired defensively together. Dodgers look to hold the zone. They try to go to Snedden. Cleared from the stop, and they move it to the door as Richter had the whole net, and he shot it against the pipe.
Well, it's a nice backdoor feed, and Richter all alone, and he missed the open net.
And he pushed it right into the post, Bill Howard. Krulak back to set it up. It's going to be cleared by Wawrinka. Wawrinka stick-handed with the puck at center ice, and he lifts it down in the corner on the left side. Dirksen knocking it down, works the wing on the right. No score in the hockey game with 16:29 remaining here in the first period of play. The puck is loose. Styak trying to pick it up, working the wing. Loose on the left wing board as Wisconsin tries to bring it out of the zone. At center ice, the puck came loose. Picking it up is Malone. Somebody playing it without a stick. And they'll go over to the bench, regroup, and the Badgers will go back to start out of their own zone. We have 16:05 remaining in a scoreless first period. Both teams at full strength. Malone broke it up as the Badgers carried it in over the line. Frederick on the play from Malone. And it's going to be dropped back, and with it is Sukharov. Sukharov trying to head a man, and did to Frederick, who played it in over the Badger line. Harwell broke it up on the play to Nelson. Badgers trying to set it up. Malone tried to flip it ahead on the play. Intended for Landowski, took back to Sukharov. Badger fans thought there should have been a penalty call there, didn't get it. And it's loose down in the corner of the left side, back over to Sykes in the Wisconsin zone. Sykes on the play to Helgeson. Helgeson out with Blaine Moore and Andy Shire. The number 4 unit for Wisconsin against Landowski, Yantos, and Frederick. And the puck loose down in the corner of the left side. Helgeson over to pick it up, trying to flip it out. It's going to be held in by Carpenter. Played it behind the net over to Landowski, who's bumped behind the goal, and it goes to Helgeson of Wisconsin, who turns and plays it to center ice, and it's driven by Simpson back in behind Dirksen. With 15 minutes remaining in a scoreless first period. Badgers try to get a break to Shire. It doesn't work, and an icing will be called against the Wisconsin Badgers.
Frederick and Nelson getting into it near the Badger bench, back away from the play. Been a very, very physical first 5 minutes of the period.
Would you expect that, Bill?
Well, that's the way Northern Michigan plays. I mean, they play very aggressive. They follow through on their check about as well as any college hockey team in the nation. And the Badgers are exchanging check for check with them here. It's been a very, very physical first 5 minutes.
Bill, do you buy into the theory that some people talk about, we'll get a look again on replay at Richter? Holy smokes, he had the whole net.
Well,
he had plenty of time.
Great backhand feed by McDonald. That's one where you don't have to shoot off the pass ball. He had no pressure on him. He's got to catch that one and then direct it in. That's right. So Hiller and Richter with backdoor goal potentials, both pushing them wide of the net. But Richter had time to catch that puck and then tap it in.
Bill, do you buy into the theory that Northern, how can they have a problem in a bigger rink when you look at their season record, which is 28-5-4? some people say, well, maybe they're not as good on the bigger ice surfaces compared to Lakeview Arena.
Well, they've lost all 5 games, or 5 games on the road. But I think the reason is, Paul, that in a smaller rink, as aggressive as they are, they have a tendency to dominate people because of their aggressiveness.
For our commercial stations, we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Wisconsin has a winter getaway that's just your speed. So call 1-800-432-TRIP for your free Wisconsin guidebook. They're going fast.
14 minutes, 56 seconds remaining here in the first period of play from the Coliseum at Madison. In this first 20 minutes, the Badgers have outscored their opponents 42-26. Northern Michigan has outscored their opponent 61-24. But, Bill, the statistic that absolutely stands out, Northern Michigan has scored 120 goals more than their opponent.
That's in the regular season. And in the WCHA, they're a plus 90, which is unbelievable.
100. They got 222 goals. Their opponents 102. And moving it up ice, Dick Hanna with the puck coming back in over the line on the left side. As Sykes trying to move it to the net, played back in behind the net. Both teams at equal strength. It goes around over to Carpenter, who flipped it out over to center ice. 14:30 remaining in the period. Jacques Auger out on the ice, number 2 for the Wisconsin Badgers. And it comes ahead on the play. Wisconsin at full strength, Northern Michigan at full strength. Krulak knocking it down behind the goal, flipped it on the wing, trying to give it to Shayak on the break with Smith and Olsen. And the whistle and an offside is going to be called on the Wildcats of Northern Michigan.
Well, Badgers forechecking aggressively, but you really have to keep that third man high and back because they have that wide wing flying out of there, and the Badgers at times, Paul, not getting that third man high to get back, and then they're going to get caught before the night's over that backside wing.
And we'll have that face-off coming up now. 14:11 remaining in the first period of play. And a no-score situation here from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum in Madison. And it's going to be set up by Sean Hill. Sean working at cross ice over to Andringa on the break. Badgers come to the line. Decker is out with Parker and Francisco. Toomey normally is on this line, but we'll tell you about a little situation there. Buffet with it for Northern Michigan comes in over the blue line. Buffet trying to work his way to the net. Loose down to the corner of the right side. Back over to set it up. The puck came loose. Right out in front of Dirksen. It's going to be cleared by Wisconsin and moving it up ice. And it's going to be driven by Parker from right to left. Krulak knocking it down. It comes in the play to Warenka. Warenka moves it to center ice on the break, intended for Buffet. And Buffet went down at the Badger blue line to Wisconsin resetting now as they come up ice. They control it and they'll flip it down to the corner of the right wing boards. Goes back in behind the net. Trying to go over to set it up. Parker moved it right out in front, intended for Francisco. Taken away by Beatty. Beatty on the lead to Scott. Scott comes in over the line. Trailing is Hiller. And it's loose down in the corner of the right wing board. We have 13 minutes remaining in a scoreless first period. Badgers look to set it up in the neutral zone. With it is Granato. Granato is tied up by Malone, and it's played ahead. And it's going to be set up with it is Beatty. Beatty at 5'7" comes in over the line. Tries to work it past Sean Hill. Set up to Malone with a drive. Off the plexiglass. Loose down in the corner on the left side. Badgers will turn and bring it out of the zone. Wisconsin on the transition. Back down to the corner on the left side. Zent chasing it, whistle. And we'll have a stoppage of play with 12:34 remaining in the first period. No score here from the Coliseum.
Well, a long pass tried to hit Zent, busting in behind the defense, and the Badgers going to be called for icing. But you can see now the tempo as Northern Michigan forechecking a little bit more aggressively in the poll. Lake Superior State, the #1 team in the nation. And right behind them, Northern Michigan.
And the Wisconsin Badgers in the poll this week, I believe, are number 9, if my memory serves me correctly. Minnesota is the other WCHA team in the top 10. The Golden Gophers rated 7th. Minnesota taking on North Dakota at Mariucci Arena this weekend. North Dakota trails Wisconsin by 2 points. So we got to root for the Gophers this weekend, Bill.
Well, you do that anyway, so.
12 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the first period. And it's set up Northern Michigan has won the championship. Playing for pride this weekend here at the Coliseum. Plandowski back in behind the net. As the puck comes loose, back over to Snedden. Snedden wrapping on the boards, trying to get some help. The puck came loose. As it's going to be played by Plandowski back down in the corner on the left side. Nelson back over to set it up. And Wisconsin turning, bringing it out of their own zone to neutral ice. Going to be flipped down to the corner on the right side. We have 12 minutes remaining in the first period, where Rainka banged it off the boards, trying to go on the play to Joe Frederick. They played it behind the net, taken away by Doug McDonald. Trying to go to the point, intercepted by Plandowski on the break to Frederick. Taken away by Snedden, who dropped it to Sykes. Sykes setting it up, his lead pass, broken up by Frederick. Back in over the line on the left side, and there's the drive. Wisconsin will break it up and angle it off the boards. Back down in the Northern Michigan zone, we have it set up with it for Rainka. Comes Rinkwad on the play to the boards in front of the Badger bench. Knocked down. Olsen tried to control it, trailing with Shayak, and he flips it down in on the right side. Roger Sykes will chase it down for Wisconsin. Works the wing, trying to bring it out. Sukharov with a drive, and Dirksen with a save. They shot from the point. The Badgers move it back up ice. Get over the line. Controlling it with Shire, but there was an offside called at the blue line of Northern Michigan.
Well, Moore for Wisconsin swinging down the blue line, just didn't maintain the one skate on the blue line, caused the offside. And Shire had a good drive coming down the right side. Moore just offside on the play. That shot from the point on Dirksen was a bouncing shot. Hit the ice and skipped, and Dirksen had to make a fairly difficult save out of an easy save as it took a bounce right at the end. But there haven't been many shots on goal, Paul. Very close checking, very aggressive hockey by both teams.
Well, you talk about shots on goal. The Cats have had at least 40 shots on goal in 9 of their last 16 games.
And you know, there's a theory. The more times you get the puck on the net, the greater the chance the puck will go in. It's a real simple theory.
I saw something, Bill, that had never been done this week. I saw a National Hockey League game in the Twin Cities. The Edmonton Oilers played the Minnesota North Stars. Edmonton did not get a shot on goal in the second period. It's the first time in the history of the club that ever happened.
Well, that's pretty hard to do because you got icings and long shots and everything else.
Now, one shot on goal in the entire
Must have been a real exciting game.
Well, it was for North Star fans. And the puck is set up, played back of the net now as Wisconsin in a scoreless situation here. And it's played down to the corner on the left side, goes back in behind, 10:50 remaining in the first period. As Carpenter trying to work it out of the zone, it comes to center ice. Broken up, Sykes back defensively for Wisconsin to regroup. Out is Moore for the Badgers with Shire and Helgeson. And Wisconsin setting it up. Shire comes in over the line on the right wing boards, taken away by Ward. Ward head-manning the puck, broken up at center ice, and it's played back down in the corner. Northern Michigan without 2 of their regulars tonight. Bill Pye taking the night off. Drake is not here. We have 10 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in a scoreless first period.
The line of Moore, Shire, and Helgeson. There are some problems with that third man back, and you can see there again the third man went in and committed to the forecheck, and Northern Michigan just flips it out to that wing, and away they go. So Badgers have to keep a third man back.
Face-off will come up in the neutral zone with no score in the hockey game here from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum.
You know, in the first 2 games, there weren't a lot of shots on goal either, Paul. The saves, 23-21, 22-19.
In games played here at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum, there's been 20. The Badgers are 16-4 against Northern Michigan. John Hill back over to set it up, gives it to Andringa on the play. As the Badgers look to bring it out of the zone, now they go rink wide to Barry Ricker, who backhands it down in the corner. Coming back is Phil Sukharov. And Sukharov headmans it, trying to work the wing to Malone. And it comes back to Malone on the right wing board. Malone with it, trying to flip it out as McDonald trying to hold the zone. Santos and McDonald bump one another, and play is going to be stopped at the blue line of Northern Michigan.
Pretty good first period, I think, for both teams. It looks like they're just sort of feeling their way through the period here, Paul, and checking the forechecking systems out and taking a look at how each team's coming at each team. I think the wings are doing a pretty good job for both teams of staying with their wings and holding up their man, with the exception of a couple situations where the Badgers have over forechecked, and Northern Michigan has not been able to capitalize on the breakout and get the 3-on-2 situation.
We'll have the face-off coming up now. Just outside the blue line, Northern Michigan has not lost since December 21st. They lost 2 games in a row at St. Cloud. by scores of 4-3 and 6-4. They have not lost since that point.
And that'll be a trip that Rick Comley will never schedule again. They went to Grand Forks on Thursday, played Friday and Saturday, and then I believe they played Wednesday and Thursday in St. Cloud. That's a pretty tough trip. Never went home.
Their other losses, 2 to Maine by scores of 4-2 and 4-1, and to Minnesota 5-3, and that's it. The only 5 blemishes on a season-long record to this point. And the puck is going to be played in the neutral zone. Back up to set it up. 9 minutes, 28 seconds remaining. Beatty comes it up with the line. Beatty back shot. Dirksen save as Hiller had a pretty good opportunity there. And the Badgers will work it up ice to the blue line.
Delayed penalty against Northern.
It's going to be power play hockey now. We've got Hiller and Zent. And the linesman quickly getting between them. And Zent is going to be taken away by Andringa. So it should be a power play situation here for the Wisconsin Badgers coming up.
Scott in back of the play dumped Hill, and that's what the reason for the penalty.
For our commercial stations, we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger hockey.
Thanks to some of the most productive technology in the world, everyone can now afford some of the most productive technology in the world.
From the Dane County Memorial Coliseum, the Badgers with a power play opportunity. Northern Michigan in man-short situations have allowed only 22 power play goals to be scored upon them.
Best in the league.
That's right. And Wisconsin has scored 30 power play goals. They're converting on 17% of their opportunities. Man advantage for Wisconsin. Badgers looking to take a 1-0 lead if they could score on the power play. And remember, if they do score on the power play, it means $50 donated from Rayovac to Special Olympics. McDonald out of the ice. Barry Richter is out for Wisconsin. Sean Hill with it, and whistle at an offside is going to be called.
Well, Hill lost the puck as he came near the blue line, and his feet as he got ahead of the puck and had to reach back, kick it in. That's the reason for the offside. The Badgers have already wasted 31 seconds and have not been able to get the puck in the zone. And once again, Northern Michigan will forecheck very, very aggressively in the man-down situation.
And it's been fun all season long to see if Rayovac can indeed give up $50 to Special Olympics when the Badgers score on the power play goal. Wisconsin with a 1:25 remaining in the man advantage situation here. Badgers are led in power play goal scoring by Barry Richter. And it's going to be set up now. Controlling it. He has 8 power play goals. There's a drive deflected right out in front, and Krulak covered up. Richter out of the ice. Sean Hill is out. Doug McDonald is out. Snedden and Andringa.
That was an interesting play. Doug McDonald took the zone and came all the way across. No one picked him up. He could have shot long before he did. He waited too long until he got in traffic. No one from Northern stepped up and picked him up between the 2 circles. Doug McDonald should have just cranked when he got to the middle, waited too long, and then the shot got deflected, barely got to the net. But an unusual play where McDonald was given the neutral, or given the middle of the rink ball right between the 2 circles, and he had a great chance there if he had a shot sooner.
We'll have the face-off coming up now, and McDonald is out defensively. There's a Garrett McDonald for Northern Michigan. Antos is also out, along with Warenka and Blandowski, the penalty killers. They lead the WCHA in penalty killing, and there's a drive, and it went wide of the net by Sean Hill. Back over to Barry Richter down to the corner. On the right wing, he's bumped on the boards by McDonald. McDonald for Wisconsin over to set it up. Back to the point on the play, back over to Andringa, back over to McDonald with a drive. Deflected wide of the net, around over to Sean Hill. Back to the point on the play, over to Andringa, back on the wing to Sean Hill. Shot is deflected wide of the net, comes back over to Richter. Down to the corner of the right side, back to McDonald at the point, out on top to Andringa. Shot in Krulak, kicked it out, went to the glove of Sean Hill, who tried to fire with a rink wide, broken up by Blandowski, and he drives it wide of Dirksen. Badgers go back to regroup now. The man advantage. They only have 28 seconds remaining on the power play situation. Wisconsin working it up ice. It's controlled by Snedden, who's cut off by Frederick. goes to Hill, and the shot is deflected up over the glass off the stick of Barry Richter.
Well, the one thing that Northern Michigan does so well, it appears the Badgers have a great chance to shoot, and you can see that Northern penalty killers jump up right on top of them.
For our commercial stations, we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger hockey.
From the creator of Anne of Green Gables, Lantern Hill, the story of a young girl who journeys to meet the father she has never known. But her parents' separation is shrouded in mystery, and a spirit holds the key to their reconciliation. Sam Waterston, Zoe Caldwell, and Colleen Dewhurst in Lantern Hill on the WonderWorks family movie.
Watch during Public TV 13's Festival.
With a shot from the point, blocked by Krulak. The puck is loose, and it's advanced with the hand by Buffet, and that will stop play. And Wisconsin still 8 seconds remaining on the man advantage here with 7:23 remaining in a scoreless first period.
Now, Krulak unable to handle the rebound, but did you see how aggressive Northern Michigan came to the rescue of their goaltender? They certainly got in front and tied up the Badgers in a hurry. They really came to his aid in a hurry, and they got very aggressive. The puck is loose, and you can see the Badgers unable to get the second shot.
And we'll have the face-off coming up to the left side of Krulak now as he looks out from goal. And the 8 seconds remaining on Jeff Zauer's first power play opportunity.
See, I think that should almost be a penalty because the Northern Michigan player threw the puck away from the scoring area.
I agree.
And that's a situation where I think you got to call that a penalty.
And that resulted in the face-off. Northern Michigan gets the draw, and they dump it all the way back down to the Badger zone. And it's going to be set up now. Look out, moving it in. Beatty tried to deke and take the shot, but went behind the net. The puck comes loose as Wisconsin turns to bring it out of the zone. They go on the wing, coming up ice, in over the line, and the shot is wide by Granato. The rebound by Kurtz. Trying to push it to the net. Frederick clears on the play to Scott. And Scott with it, coming in over the line. Scott down in the corner on the left side. Scott is bumped along the end boards back in the Badger zone, and will have a stoppage of play with 6 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in a scoreless first period.
Well, just after the penalty is expired, and this is a problem for most teams, in that they don't get back and play defense, and the Badgers unable to cover up. Beatty got the puck all alone. He had so much time that Dirksen challenged him. He deked Dirksen, but then got in too deep, had the open net in behind Dirksen, and lost control of the puck.
6 minutes, 42 seconds remaining, first period. And while we have a moment here, we would like to welcome our viewers from Marquette, Michigan, who are joining us for this series on Bresnan Communications. Glad to have you with us, and hope you're enjoying the broadcast tonight.
Watching a very fast-paced, very aggressive first period of hockey. Very even first period of hockey.
I suppose the people up in Marquette and the surrounding communities celebrated a little bit last weekend?
Well, I think they probably had a pretty good time, and rightfully so. Their team did not lose a game in the regular season in their home ice.
In fact, you got to go back a couple of years to find the last loss in that building. And it's set up now in the neutral zone with it as the puck is going to be set up by Wisconsin, coming in over the line, controlling it, trying to work his way through. Richter is out for Wisconsin with Snedden, and McDonald is a forward line. Landowski, Antos, and Frederick are out for Northern Michigan. With it is Frederick, down to Madison. Frederick with the puck heading up ice on the right, tried to hit Antos. Blocked, and Warenka played it down to the right wing corner of the Badger zone. John Hill broke that up for Wisconsin. John with it now, moving it out of the Badger zone, drives it in on Krulak, who had to make the save. That shot right on from about 150 feet. And it's going to be set up now and controlled on to the break. With it is Scott trying to go to Hiller. And the puck is loose as the Badgers work it out towards center ice. Carpenter with it for Northern Michigan in over the Wisconsin line. They try to work the wing as they went from Hiller to Beatty. And Wisconsin trying to bring it out of the zone, played down to the corner. And Dringa back to set it up, and Dringa's rammed on the boards by Hiller. And the puck is set up now, and a give and go right out in front. Dirksen knocked it down as the shot was taken good pressure by Scott, Beatty, and Hiller. And it's loose now, and it's banged out to center ice. We have 5:17 remaining, and with it is Simpson. Simpson tried and did play it ahead. Whistle and play is going to be stopped in the zone of Wisconsin.
Well, Hiller again walked out from the corner, but didn't have much of an angle, and Dirksen took it away from him. But Hiller's had two good chances. The right there, the line of Scott, Beatty, and Hiller dominated McDonald, Richter instead. And so you may have to go to a little quicker line against them. Hiller walks out from the corner, and Dirksen makes the save in tight, and then the Badgers able to clear.
78 goals for that line, Bill.
That's more than some teams probably have in the whole season. I want to look here and see how many goals CC and Denver have in the whole season. It's pretty close. 89 for Denver, one line for Northern has 78. That's a phenomenal total. I think you need to shut that line down. But they've been very, very effective. Beatty, one of the best face-off people in the league.
Out of Kimberley, British Columbia, Beatty, 5'7", 164-pounder. They're touting him as a Hobie Baker candidate as well as an All-American. And the puck is loose now in the neutral zone. Played back down in the corner. Back over to set it up. Zuckerov with it. On the lead to Malone. Trying to go right wing for Olsen. Olsen had manning the puck. With it is Smith, who played it in, trying to go left side of the break. And we have a little flurry in front of the net there and a stoppage of play. And we'll have 4:47 remaining as the clock will start with the next face-off here in the Badger zone.
Very even first period. Both teams have had some good offensive opportunities. Both teams have protected their goaltender well after the initial shots. It's just one penalty in the period, but it has not been a real timid period.
A lot of pretty good checks thrown at this point. Pretty aggressive, physical.
Both teams doing a good job of following through on their checks and taking their man out of the play.
Face-off coming up to the right side, back down to the Wisconsin zone.
But you got to come here to compete when you play Northern Michigan. They work hard and they're a talented hockey team.
23, 3-4 on the year in the WCHA to win the league championship. Their first in school history. And there's a little trouble getting set in the face-off circle. Back down to the Badger zone. The draw is going to be set up to Malone with a drive. Dirksen worked it behind the net, flipped it around on the wing. Badgers try to bring it out. Francisco is out now with Parker and Decker. Toomey normally would be playing on this line, Bill, but maybe you want to tell everybody what happened this week.
Well, they're on the way to practice, and John Parker was driving, and Jason Francisco was on the sidewalk and waved to him, and John looked away for a minute, and the car pulled right out in front of him, and bang, that was the end of Toomey. And, of course, being the intelligent young person that he was, he didn't have a seatbelt on, so his head met the windshield. And we don't have to tell you who won.
And he's okay, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just bruised and sore, and he'll probably play tomorrow night. Unfortunate situation, but again, it's one of those things that does happen.
And they demolished the car, I understand.
Well, it wasn't what you call a real great car.
So it only took a nick or two to do that in, huh?
Good shot from the point by Northern Michigan. Dirksen after they make the good pass save, and again, we did not get out to the point to cover off the draw in the defensive zone.
Commissioner of the WCHA is here this weekend, Otto Breitenbach, who was in Marquette last weekend, to present the championship of the WCHA to Rick Comedy and the Wildcats of Northern Michigan after they won the championship against Michigan Tech. Helgeson out for the Badgers with Blaine Moore and Andy Shire. And it's going to be set up now. Stick handle of the puck, knocked down in the neutral zone. Scoreless hockey game here from the Coliseum in Madison. And trying to pick it up, it's played on the wing on the right side, trying to knock it down. And it's flipped in on Krulak, who blocked it in front. Played it to Malone. Malone goes behind the net to Sukharov. Hopped over Sukharov's stick. He looks for help on the wing. It's going to be picked up by Buffet. Here's Buffet moving up ice, trying to give it to Ward. Ward chasing it down to the corner on the left side. Badgers work the wing, trying to come up with the puck. Northern Michigan trying to kick it loose. Ward picks it up. Ward with it. Buffet in front of the net. Ward trying to work his way loose. Pretty big guy there for Edmonton at 6'3" as he worked it. But it comes all the way back to center ice, and it's going to be set up now. Controlled by Wawrinka. That pass is broken up. Badgers move it in with it. Moore with a shot. Krulak is down. Moore trying to check the puck toward the slot. And it's going to be cleared on the break. With it is Wawrinka. Wawrinka cutting in on the wing, trying to beat Nelson. Circles and then fires it, trying to go to the slot to Frederick, and it's going to be cleared and dumped out of the corner of the right side. And Wisconsin will chase the puck as Zent waiting behind the net. Instead, it goes from Shire to Kurtz to the wing to Sean Hill. Hill trying to work it loose. Whistle and play is going to be stopped.
Great little soft feed by Shire to Moore. Moore, again, just ran out of room again. Never got a good shot off. And I guess the one thing you can say about both teams is they've not been able to get good, clean, hard shots off. And that wasn't a tough save for Krulak. There really hasn't been a big save by either goaltender in the period.
But the Badgers have had a couple of opportunities to score goals here.
Well, the loose puck again. You can see how well Northern Michigan covers. They had 3 people back protecting. Wisconsin had just 1. That's why Northern Michigan's been so effective. The goaltender got out of position, Paul. They actually had a player playing goal in behind him and 2 other people. They not only forecheck aggressively, they come back hard aggressively.
Playing both ends of the rink, Bill Howard is saying. And it's going to be set up and controlled, and it's going to be backhanded toward the net, and whistle and play will be stopped.
And, you know, there's some hockey players that don't play both ways.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Oh, come on.
There's some that like to go one way only.
And that's in the offensive end, right?
A lot more fun.
That playing defense is no fun anyway. I want to score goals and get assists.
But you get to be the league champion by having players that play hard both ways.
Jeff Sauer, 411 wins, now standing 9th on the all-time list of coaches in college hockey for victories. Rick Comely is in the top 20. Rick also has a lot of wins, 379 wins overall in his career.
Ever think how many Friday and Saturday nights of your life have been taken up by hockey for a coach?
Those guys have spent a lot of time in the rink, haven't they?
A lot of Friday and Saturday nights. It's called You Don't Have Weekends Free from October till the middle of March.
790 wins between those two guys.
That's an awful lot of wins.
2:45 remaining here in the first period, and the puck is loose, and it's going to be dumped out in the corner. Is Krulak with it, trying to work it away. Out comes Kurtz. Kurtz over to set it up. Kurtz around over to Granato. Granato moves it right out in front, got it wide of the net. Trying to chase it down in the corner. Zentz over to try and pick it up. And Granato checked and taken down by Antos. Zentz is there. As Granato trying to work it loose, and Zentz, along with Simpson, pinned along the boards. They just let him play.
That's a good rule, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great rule. What a bummer. And with it is Granato turning. Granato is hooked. Down he goes. Picked up by Frederick. Frederick against Andringa on the drop to Antos. Whistle. And the pass comes back over the blue line. And for our commercial station, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
EQ Muffler in Marquette says good luck to the Hockey Wildcats. EQ Muffler has served Marquette County for 54 years and is still family owned. That's EQ Muffler, 250 East Hampton in Marquette. Call 226-2131. And the Marquette Catholic Credit Union wishes the Hockey Wildcats the best of luck. The Marquette Catholic Credit Union has served Marquette for many years and is with the community in cheering the Cats on.
Dumped out of the left wing corner in a scoreless hockey game in the Northern Michigan zone. McDonald from Wawrinka. McDonald on the break, moving it up ice, trying to go left side over to Scott, comes back over to Wawrinka. Back to McDonald. McDonald behind the net of Northern Michigan. The Badgers take it away down in the corner on the left side. Over to McDonald, played the point, tipped right out in front. Krulak blocked it and knocked it down. And the puck is loose. Richter in the corner. McDonald over to try and pick it up and work it loose. Richter poking at it. McDonald poking at it. Beatty comes in to take a look. Also there is McDonald. And the puck comes loose. And we've had about 15 seconds of no action in the corner. McDonald finally works it loose for Wisconsin. Goes all the way back to the point, trying to flip it toward the net, where Rinka took it away. Back up ice, look out, back in over the line. And with it is Beatty, shuffled across ice, shot, kick, save! Off the Scott shot. Beatty and Scott on a 2-on-1 break, and Dirksen turns it aside.
First big save in the period.
And Wisconsin 7 with a puck going toward the net. Back down in the corner on the right wing boards, and he's trying to go to the point to John Hill. Passed it all the way out of the zone, and Dirksen flips it behind the net. As the puck comes loose, and it's going to be dumped in on Krulak, who had to make the save. Krulak quickly to Sukharov. Sukharov's break pass is knocked down by Parker. And Wisconsin looking to set it up, and it's going to be played in on the left side of the Northern Michigan zone. Whistle and play is going to be stopped in front of the Wildcat bench. No score, 24 seconds remaining. First period.
And just one penalty called in the entire period. But there McDonald had a chance for Wisconsin to throw the puck back deep. Threw it out in the slot. You could see how quickly Northern Michigan counterattacked on the turnover. Got the 3-on-2, which became a 2-on-1. And the backdoor feed, and Dirksen makes a great save. And he read that situation quite well.
Face-off will come up now, just outside the blue line.
Beatty really makes a nice pass to get it through on the backside, and the Badger defenseman just doesn't get back to cover up.
Can't dispute his being an All-American candidate, can you?
Very good with the puck. Very good with the puck. It only has 38 goals.
70 points on the year. And we'll have the face-off coming up with 22 seconds remaining in his scoreless first period. And with it is Malone, trying to work it ahead. Decker bumped him, played down in the corner, goes back in behind the net. Dirksen flipping it on the boards. Badgers turn, try to bring it out of the zone. Nelson with it for Wisconsin, works it up the wing on the left side. And it's loose down in the corner. There's going to be no icing called. And we come to the end of the first period of play. And after 20 minutes of action from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum, we've got a scoreless game. Bill, in a pretty good first period.
Well, the pace was very good. I thought both teams did a good job picking up the wings and a good job in the defensive zone and moving the puck out there. A lot of play in neutral ice.
Let's go down to John Rustad, who's the public address announcer here at the Coliseum.
To the north end of the Coliseum, just above the WHA television sign, and the WHA TV, WIDA booth up there. And in recognition of his 18 seasons as the voice of the Badgers, the Blue Line Club, and all your friends in the state of Wisconsin, would like to say thank you, Paul Brown.
Thank you.
As many of you know, Paul has accepted an exciting new position up in Minneapolis at WCCO. And he is accepting the Blue Line from Blue Line Club President Mike Sherman on behalf of many UW hockey fans, a plaque of appreciation which states to Paul Brown, voice of the Badgers, 1973 to 1991. And a career record, listen to this record, a career record of 464 wins, 250 losses, and 36 ties while at the mic. Paul, that's a great 64% percentage. And on behalf of all the fans of the Blue Line Club, the entire University of Wisconsin staff, players, coaches, thank you, and best wishes for your career in Minneapolis.
Thank you, John, and hey, I've had the best seat in the house and the best job in college hockey. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun, PB. I hate
yeah,
to see you leave me. You and I have been around a long time and done a great job and a lot of great memories, and you won't be forgotten even if you change your colors up there in the Twin Cities.
I'm not sure what to say. Thanks a lot. It's nothing to nothing after one period of play.
Dear Rayovac, I've had a battery-operated back scratcher in the drawer for years and years. We had 2 Rayovac batteries in it. I turned it on, and lo and behold, they were still good. We were really surprised, and so was everyone else. No one believed it until we showed them that they still worked. How's that for good batteries? Sincerely, Mrs. Margaret Bronner, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Rayovac. Batteries that turn people on.
The Gordon Flesh Company wants you to know there's just something about a Canon color laser copier. Maybe it's the way it makes drawings come alive, or the way it captures the sharpness and detail of photos. Or it might be the fact that Canon has the world's most advanced digital technology. Whatever it is, it makes quite an impression. The Canon color laser copier, the digital difference. The Gordon Flesh Company, a commitment to service excellence for over 30 years.
County Coliseum as the score between Wisconsin and Northern Michigan is 0-0 after the end of the first period of play. Dwayne Dirksen comes up with 8 saves in that first period, and Rob Kulak for the Northern Michigan team has a total of 12 saves in that period. So the Badgers doing a pretty good job of getting in there. I guess I should take this time to mention too that the big guy Paul Brown and I back in 1973 when he first came here
Paul and I were working Mike's side together, and it's a sad day, really, to see Paul go up to the Twin Cities, but I'm sure he'll be around for a lot of hockey games when we get up in that area. Well, we had an opportunity to introduce you to a number of the Wisconsin coaches throughout the year, and now we'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to assistant coach Mike Kemp. Mike, you're in your 9th year at the University of Wisconsin. Just detail all your duties for me, if you would.
Well, of course, like everything else, Bob, they've changed over the years. As time went on, when you get here to be an albatross like I am, you've been around as long as I have, it seems to change. But right now, my basic responsibilities, I oversee all of our recruiting. Of course, I have Scott Owens and Pete Johnson who can go out and do a lot of the legwork for us and do a lot of the analysis of the recruits out there and the prospects. I oversee our recruiting, and I'm also in charge of coaching our defense and coaching our penalty killing. And then during the course of the games, I run the defense and run the penalty killing on the bench.
There's a lot of different things I can ask, and I guess one of the first things, if we talk about recruiting, how do you find out about recruits? I mean, do people call you, or what's the process, so to speak, to narrow it down?
Well, there are innumerable ways that we go about gathering information on our recruits. We use a lot of people that are out there in the field, people that we know that are coaching certain teams at certain programs throughout North America. We also utilize the pro scouts who are out watching numerous games, and then also we keep pretty detailed books on players from the time they may be 14 or 15 years old until they're eligible for us to recruit.
You go back, how do you get a book on a kid that's 14? How do you find out about those kids?
Well, quite often we will see them play in midget tournaments, Bantam tournaments, playing as a 9th or 8th or 10th graders at their high schools, and then just kind of follow them all the way through as they mature and develop, and try to keep tabs on them every time we go out and see their certain particular team play, and then either weed them in or weed them out of what our prospects are.
The process, too, is going to change a little bit, I understand, with new NC2A legislation.
Well, there's so many variables entering into the prospects of our future in the sport. The fact we may go to one full-time assistant, one part-time assistant. They're also talking about only 2 coaches that can ever recruit or ever leave campus to evaluate, to contact, and to recruit prospects. So all of those elements entering into the picture make it pretty much of a jumbled mess, and we're going to be in trouble.
We're going to find out more about hockey and places that Mike has been after these messages from your local station.
City Dodge in downtown Ishpeming wishes the Hockey Wildcats the best of luck this weekend. Come on out and see Dick Dunn and Rich Gleason at Twin City Dodge, 330 South Main in Ishpeming. And come on down and cheer the Cats to victory at the Village Pub tonight. The Village Pub, home of the best new pizza in Marquette. That's the Village Pub, North 3rd Street in Marquette.
The Marquette Junior Hockey Corporation will be hosting the Michigan Amateur Hockey Association 1991 Midget B State Championship at the Lakeview Arena next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 1st through 3rd. Advanced sale tournament buttons will be available at $5 for adults and $2 for students and seniors from members of the AFL-CIO Chiefs Midget B team at Skater's Edge, Johnson Sports Shop, and at the Lakeview Arena through Wednesday. Tournament buttons at the door will be $10 for adults and $5 for students. Come out and see exciting state tournament action next weekend at the Lakeview Arena.
Mike Kemp, assistant hockey coach here at the University of Wisconsin. And Mike, catch the people up, if you would, for us a little bit. You're out of Duluth, Minnesota, right?
Oh, yes, born and raised in Duluth, Minnesota, played all the way through high school there, and then went on and was at Gustavus Adolphus College as an athlete and as a student, and then did a year of graduate work in Nebraska, came back to Gustavus for 5 years as the head hockey coach, or assistant hockey coach, and head coach of the women's golf team, and then came here in 1981 under Bob Johnson. Took a year here in Madison and went on to Chicago, Illinois as a head assistant coach there for 1 year, and came back with Jeff 83-84.
Tell me about how you first got back or here to the University of Wisconsin under Bob Johnson.
Well, through a lot of different sources, and I'd made some contacts with Bob when I was at Gustavus, interested in working here at Wisconsin. It had always been kind of one of my dreams when I was growing up, even in Duluth, is to be here at Wisconsin at Madison. And through some contacts I had made with him, and I also coached a young man who's a dentist here in Madison now, Stuart McCormick, at Gustavus. And his father was a good friend of Bob's, and the words got back, and Bob came and approached me about the job in '81, and I jumped at the opportunity.
I guess I got to ask you, I worked for Bob, obviously, also, you know that. What was it like to coach under Bob Johnson?
I'll tell you, every day was a thrill. 'Cause I've never been around anybody with a greater enthusiasm, greater zest for life, and it was infectious. And I certainly have respected his enthusiasm and his motivation, because every day he was motivated to jump into the job.
Now, tell me about that year down at Illinois, Chicago. A different league. I would imagine a whole different approach to hockey down there in Chicago.
Well, it was their first year in the CCHA, so it was a whole rebuilding process, a growth process. We were in a situation where they wanted to recruit 18 players in 1 year, and we went out and got 18 players. One of them ended up being a Hobie Baker finalist, Ray Stazak, who at the time that he signed a contract was the largest contract of any free agent in NHL history.
Well, we'll find out a little bit more about some of Mike's other duties and some interesting notes about some hockey development around the country after these messages from your local station.
Of all the great TV programs, who can ever forget the one show that poked and prodded at your youthful sensibilities and challenged your still developing mind? Indeed, a show that gave us two characters who will live forever in the annals of television history. Rocket J. Squirrel and Bullwinkle J. Moose.
Watch during Public TV 13's Best of All.
For the best in community sports, you can't beat local cable programming. TV that hits home.
Conversation with assistant hockey coach Mike Kemp. And Mike, I know one of the things that you're involved in away from the University of Wisconsin is the U.S. Player Development Program. Tell me a little bit something about that.
Well, this is Hockey USA's development program, part of Amateur Hockey Association of the United States. And what we do is we analyze and evaluate the 16s and 17-year-old prospects for the future program as far as the select program. The kids that we have, we evaluate every summer, move on from our program into like the select 16 team or select 17 national teams, which are basically the stepping stones to the Olympics.
Let me ask you this now. Let's say, okay, I'm a father. I've got a kid that's 14, 15 years old. Pretty good hockey player. He's gotten some notice here and there. How do I get involved in that player development program? Or how do I get my son involved in something like that?
Well, each one of the state organizations or regional organizations through the Amateur Hockey Association have regional tryouts throughout their area in which they select and recommend prospects to move on to the regional camps. And from that, we pick the players that are actually picked at the local level. For example, in Wisconsin here, I think there are 6 regional tryout camps for the 16 and 17-year-old birth date kids. And those kids then will be selected by local committees to go to a state selection process. And then from the state selection process, will be recommended to Hockey USA for the development camps.
So it's not just a quick kind of a thing making a decision. It's a long drawn-out process, and you really get the best then.
Yes, very much so. It's we rely on the local people to give us the players that are the best players in their area to move on to this competition, where we can then sit down and over a course of the summer evaluate what their prospects are to stay into our Olympic program, basically.
Mike, best of luck to you, and thanks for all your comments tonight.
Thanks very much, Bob.
We'll be back with second period action after these important messages from your local station.
Subtle strength, complex character. Special export light. A light theater with body and soul. Special export light.
Wisconsin has a winter getaway that's just your speed. So So call 1-800-432-TRIP for your free Wisconsin guidebook. They're going fast.
Wisconsin Badger Hockey. Brought to you by Old Style. Reach for the best. Old Style beer. Rayovac. Batteries that turn people on. Wisconsin Tourism Development, reminding you, in Wisconsin, you're among friends. And by Special Export Light, the light beer with body and soul.
Back at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum, after 20 minutes of play, it is a scoreless game between the Wildcats and the Wisconsin Badgers. And in a close checking, pretty good first period, Bill.
Well, I thought both teams played hard, played very aggressively. Each goaltender had a couple good saves. You had Hiller with a good chance. You had Beatty with a good chance. You had Richter and Moore for Wisconsin. So about an even in the first period as you could expect. And I think Wisconsin came out and competed quite well with Northern Michigan. And I think Northern Michigan is a great offensive team, Paul. It's probably been a long time since they've been shut down in the first period.
What adjustments do you guys take a look at down in the locker room there?
Well, I think from the Wisconsin standpoint, you certainly got to be concerned about your third man going in forechecking, because Northern Michigan's got the great quick forwards, and they got the defensemen to get the puck up to them, and you got to watch how hard they drive away to the net on the backside. And I think Northern Michigan's got to be a little concerned about Wisconsin's forechecking pressure at times. They were unable to get out of the zone.
Krulak had a total of 12 saves in the first 20 minutes of action, and Dwayne Dirksen, on the other hand, had a total of 8 for the Wisconsin Badgers. And no score after 20 minutes of play here from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum.
And really, the save count, I think probably, if I were to guess, was probably a little high, Paul. I didn't think that Krulak had 12 saves and Dirksen 8, and there were a lot of shots that were thrown in on net from a long distance. So I think when you really look at the scoring opportunities, each goaltender probably had 2 above average or a little bit difficult saves, and other than that, it was a very, very close checking first period hockey. Pace was very good, and the official, Bob Ames, let him play.
And it's time once again to cast your ballot for WHA's 7th Man Award, a trophy that is presented annually to the Badger player who best typifies Wisconsin hockey trademarks, such as good sportsmanship, team spirit, and maximum effort. Please send your vote on a postcard by March 31st to 7th Man Award in care of WHA, 821 University Avenue in Madison, 53706. Some of the past winners have included people like Mark Osiki, John Weiss, and Dennis Sneddon.
I don't remember if Wisconsin's gone a period without a penalty all season. I don't think they have.
They did in that first period. We only had 1 2-minute infraction called, and that was against Scott of Northern Michigan. And we're underway in the middle period here from the Coliseum in Madison. No score between the Cats and the Badgers. Played around the board. Frederick holding it in. Banged it down to the corner. Sean Hill turns, trying to bring it out. Richter tying up his man. That was cleaned out. He played the back of the net, and Dringa back of it to set it up. And Dringa working the wing as it comes on the play to Richter. Tried to backhand it out. Landowski with it, holding it in. Broken up by Dringa. Played it out towards center right. Over to Sean Hill. And Sean dumped it down to the corner on the left side. Krulak knocking it down. Sneddon trying to hustle over and pick it up, and the puck comes loose. Back over to set it up now with 19 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. It's flipped up over the boards and out of play.
Well, I think also, too, we talked about this pregame, that Wisconsin has a little bit more at stake than Northern Michigan. I mean, they're coming off a big weekend when they won the WCHA and a real high, and I know they want to come in and win and compete, but they don't have as much at stake as Wisconsin does.
Well, they've already wrapped up the WCHA championship, and their record overall in the year, 28-5-4. The most wins that they've ever had in a season was in 34 back in 79 and 80. That is going to be set up now as the puck comes loose. Northern Michigan will work it up ice. 18:55 remaining here. As going back over is Nelson, angled it off the board, comes to center ice. Broken up in the neutral zone, played to the blue line of Wisconsin. Nelson back over to set it up. Nelson comes in over the line. Played down to the corner of the left wing, goes back over to Malone. Malone behind the net, working the wing. The Badgers, Nelson on the left side, holding it in. Nelson with a drive, and it went wide of the net. And the puck goes loose on the wing on the far side. Both teams at full strength. And it's going to be played back down in on Dirksen. Dirksen will play it behind the net as he leaves it for Nelson, and trying to tie him up was Sabo. And it's going to be played ahead to center ice. Francisco overskated the puck. Northern Michigan comes back in over the Wisconsin line. The drive is kicked out off the stick of Scott as Dirksen made the save, of the rebound goes to Harwell. And Harwell's breakout shot and the save off the Scott drive by Dirksen.
Well, Scott kept it in the zone. Not a very good angle shot, but Dwayne Dirksen easily covers up a hard shot and forces the face-off to his right. Scott had the one good opportunity and the great feed from Beatty in the first period. And Dirksen made his best save of that period when he slid across from the back door away. But Scott put it up hard, but not from a very good angle, and that's one the goaltender should stop.
And the face-off will come up with 18:02 remaining here.
Watch Beatty off the draw. He cheats and gets sideways better than anybody else in the league, and he's really, really good on the face-off. And if I'm facing off against him,
what do you do?
Neutralize him. Just don't try to win it. Just try to play him even up.
Well, let's see what Granato does here against Scott Beatty.
See, watch, he's right-handed. He'll turn almost sideways to get the puck back.
Beatty's talking with Jim Hiller, saying, I'm going to draw it right back to you. You let it go. Meanwhile, Granato is thinking, I'm going to draw it back to the corner.
This might be a 2-minute face-off here. Beatty's changed now. He went from the right-hand forehand side to his backhand side. And the referee forgot to drop the puck.
And we'll have it coming up here to the right side of Dwayne Dirksen.
You know, the interesting thing about all this, there really never is an honest face-off.
And let's see what happens again.
Now Beatty's throwing out, and goes Granato.
So they're going to put in Scott against Kurtz. And Kurtz in his skates, lost control of it. Beatty back to the point. Drive deflected off the shoulder of Dirksen. Goes to Hiller. And that pass to the point, broken up by Granato. Tried to hit Zemp. Zemp trying to chase it down, and Krulak flipped it out over to center ice. It comes to Scott. Scott on the wing. Beatty in over the line. The drop pass. Overskating the puck. There's a shot and a goal. Oh. As it's going to go
Hiller,
to
I
Hiller.
believe,
Yes,
just
his
rifled.
18th goal of the year. And it's a 1-0 game.
He got all of it. Just stepped inside to the top of the right circle. Really ripped a good, hard, low shot that beat Dirksen cleanly. Northern Michigan takes a 1-0 lead. As Hiller gets it, no one picks him up, and he cranks it. Beats Dirksen on the short side, and he's really got all of that one. Northern Michigan gets on the board first. Even strength 5-on-5 goal.
And he matches his number with his 18th goal of the year. And we've got a 1-0 game. Northern Michigan is out in front here. 17 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first period of play. And it's going to be played back down to Warinka. Northern Michigan out in front here. Little collision back out at center ice involving Sean Hill. Back in over the line. Look out. They flip it, trying to go towards the net. And it's going to be set up down to the corner of the left side as the puck came loose. Smith had the opportunity there. Smith goes behind the net, centered it right out in front. And a little collision in front.
Penalty called.
And a shot, and now we've got some pushing. Jayak and Andringa and Dirksen came in. And Andringa's got Jayak around the helmet.
And that's probably a fortunate situation for Wisconsin because Dirksen down and out, and they end up scoring the goal, but got nullified because the net got knocked off. An initial penalty, I believe, is going to go against Wisconsin.
For our commercial stations, we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Dear Rayovac, I recently came across an old battery-run shoe polisher. Since I hadn't used it for several years, I wanted to try it out.
Gotta go, dear.
I couldn't believe after all that time the Rayovac batteries were still good. I went about shining every shoe in sight, working my way through the entire house. Those are some batteries. Sincerely, Betsy Schaefer, Camp Douglas, Wisconsin.
Rayovac, batteries that turn people on.
We have 17 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the second period of play here from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum. And we're going to have some penalties coming up as a result of a little pushing and shoving and jabbing going on in front of Dwayne Dirksen. Dirksen got up and got back into the fracas a little bit there.
But boy,
Shayak
it was
held
real,
on to.
real close to that goal going in before that call was made.
And let's see, they put
Got
Dirksen
Dirksen
up.
into the penalty.
Yep,
That's
2 minutes.
interesting. And you better give Shayak a penalty for smashing Dirksen. And then they matched up the rest of them.
Number 24, Dave Shayak, 2 minutes for roughing.
And Drinka and Shayak out there.
Penalty was returned by number 10, John Helgeson.
Well, Andringa.
Rob Andringa, 2 minutes for roughing.
Yeah, Shayak and Andringa, the original rough. Yep. And then Dirksen gets the additional 2 minutes. So that's interesting.
And it's going to result in a power play situation for Northern Michigan. They've converted on 26% of their power play goals on the year.
And they're 3 of 10 against Wisconsin in 2 games at Marquette. So Dirksen, by throwing that stick out, gets the additional penalty. And they match up Andringa and Shayak.
Northern Michigan has scored a power play goal in 10 of their last 11 games. And they're clipping along at almost 30% of the man advantage over that span of time. We have 17:07 remaining in the second period. It's a 1-0 game. The Cats are out in front. And he's down to the corner in the near wing in the Wisconsin zone. As the puck comes loose, trying to come over to set it up. Beatty trying to dig it loose. Hiller is there. Ned and Granato back to the point where Rinka around to the right side. They try to tip it in front of the net. Goes to Beatty on the wing. Beatty is bumped. Sean Hill will work it out of the zone. Sean on the lead. He tried to hit Granato. Granato chasing it down with Scott. The puck loose in the corner on the far boards. It goes over to Wawrinka. And Northern Michigan will set it up as they move it up ice. And they play it rink wide. It's broken up by Stein. And dumped back down in the corner on the left wing. And going back over to set it up now. Controlling it. Beatty picked up an assist incidentally. As Scott got an assist as well on that goal. And it's going to be set up now. The puck is loose down in the corner on the right side. Scott and Beatty get assists on that last goal that was scored by Hiller. And the drive cleared from in front of the Badger net. As Sean Hill backhanding it out, it comes to center ice. And it's going to be blown down at the blue line there. So recapping the goal again, Hiller got his 18th goal of the year. Beatty got his 33rd assist on the season, the 22nd of the year for Scott.
Well, it's interesting also on their power play. Excuse me, in their power play, they overload 4 forwards and 1 defenseman, Paul, as they put Scott back on the point with Wawrinka, and then they use Beatty and Ward, and Ward's a pretty big player, and they put him right smack in front of Dirksen at 6'3", 200, and Hiller. They overload 3 right-handers and then put 2 left-handers on the point.
15 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in the second period of play. 1-0, the goal of the game at 2:20 here in the second period. And the man advantage, 44 seconds remaining in the penalty time to Dirksen of Wisconsin. Badgers with 2 penalties tonight, Northern Michigan with 2. And moving it up ice, coming in over the line, dump back down in behind the net. Dirksen knocking it down. Work the wing on the near side. Over to try and set it up. Nelson along with Granato. And the puck loose in the corner of the left wing. Time showing now 23 seconds remaining in a man advantage. Back over, Buffet with it. Back out on top. Shot kicked out by Dirksen. And it's picked up by Nelson. Nelson with it at center ice, and he'll play it in. Buffet breaking it up in front of the net. And the Cats will set it up on the right wing as they come to the Badger line. With it is Landowski. Landowski to the point on the play. They work it around over to Malone. Malone sticking out of the puck. Badgers are back at full strength. There's a drive. Dirksen kicked it out. And the rebound is loose in the slot. Antos in front of the net. If he could have got it upstairs, he'd have had a goal.
Dirksen makes a great save on the drive from the point. Full extension glove save. Rebound comes out, makes a second save. And Landowski had that second opportunity. And then Antos has Dirksen on his back and shoots it right into him. Rebound, Landowski, great save by Dirksen. And all Antos has to do is flip the puck up and he shoots it right into Dirksen. Great full extension save on the original shot. And then the rebound by Landowski, unbelievable save by Dirksen. And Dirksen didn't even see Antos' shot. He's got his head buried back in the net after making 2 big saves. And Antos shoots it right into him. Dirksen never saw the third shot.
Dwayne has won 57 games in his career in Wisconsin.
Would you say he was lucky right there?
That That is correct, but a goaltender, a good goaltender like yourself, you used to be.
Is always lucky,
That's right. You were lucky occasionally out at Colorado College back in
They
your
never
day.
said I was good. They just said I was lucky.
15:02 remaining, second period. 1-0 Northern Michigan. Out in front of Wisconsin. The puck comes around over to Harwell. Harwell leading it to McDonald. To McDonald to center right. Move it with Harwell. And McDonald drives it in on the right wing boards. It goes to Richter. Richter behind the net, down in the corner on the left side. Turned and tried to play it to the point over to Wendringa, who tried to hold it in. Northern Michigan back up ice. They play it down to the right side of the Badger zone. And Dringa tied up along the boards, coming over with Smith to bump him along the end boards. And Sneddon comes over to try and force it loose behind the net of Wisconsin. And the puck is going to be picked up. Harwell, along with Smith, trying to control it. With it is Harwell. Leads it out over to McDonald. McDonald working up the right wing. Comes it over the blue line on the right side. McDonald works it right to left. Moves to try to go backdoor over to Richter, who couldn't get wood on the puck as it was played behind the net. He's had a couple of close-in opportunities, Bill, to score tonight, but he just can't get it in there.
Well, Harwell makes a nice breakout play and then jumps up in the zone to make it a 3-on-2.
And for our commercial stations, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Cindy.
Ah, the virtues of milk.
Can you work just 5 more minutes?
Okay, but I've got a date. 5 minutes.
Milk helps supply thiamine for get up and go. Magnesium for balance.
Bye.
You don't want a shot of cherry. No vanilla.
Milk is surprisingly slim on calories,
Cindy, one more order, then you can go.
yet provides plenty of carbohydrate
Yeah, 47 double chubby burgers to go.
for stamina. Milk,
Make that separate check.
it does a body good.
1-0 the score. Northern Michigan out in front of the Wisconsin Badgers here at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum. The goal of the game, 2:20 into the second period by Jim Hiller, his 18th of the year. And the face-off at the draw goes to Carpenter. Carpenter behind the net. Worked it on the wing, and it's backhanded out over to center ice. And it's going to be knocked down. Coming over, Jacques Auger trying to go to Zent. Overskating the puck. There's the drive, and the puck comes loose. Just trickled wide of the net. Has good pressure from Hiller and Beatty. And it's set up by Zent. Zent is bumped and taken off his skates by Carpenter. And the puck comes loose, and Jacques Auger broke it up. Around on the far side, it's going to be knocked down by Sykes, trying to play it ahead. And the puck comes loose now, back to the blue line and played in the corner. Back down in on the left side, going back over to set it up. Sykes with it. Worked it behind the net. It comes around over to Jacques Auger. On the breakout to Zent, rink line. That's broken up. Shot. Dirksen knocked it down as Flandowski intercepted that pass and fired it right on. And a back in over the line. They go to Flandowski on a give and go from Simpson. Simpson behind the net, flipped it up against the top of the cage, and play is going to be stopped in the Badger zone.
Well, Northern Michigan picking it up a notch here the last 3-4 minutes, and has started the forecheck very aggressively and get some good opportunities. And Dirksen's having to make the good save and has to cover up quickly as Northern going to the net very hard. But you can see now that forechecking pressure of Northern Michigan starting to take its toll on the Badger defensemen. Joe Frederick.
You bet.
No.
You used to watch him play high school hockey,
Over
huh?
the foul. No.
They just gave a Minnesota score, by the way. The Gophers leading the Sioux 2-1. And the Sioux right on the heels of the Wisconsin Badgers. Rick Tomley, 379 wins in his career. Spent 3 years at Lake State University and the rest of his time at Northern Michigan. He's also athletic director of the Wildcats program. And it's set up now, controlling it is Sean Hill. Hill stick-handed with the puck, comes in over the line. Hill played it down in the corner. They go to Decker. Decker trying to set it up. Francisco's in front. Krulak dove out to his left, and he put it away and stopped the action.
Look again after the puck goes to Krulak. 3 Northern Michigan players right there, that little protective umbrella around them. Very difficult to get a second shot to get, excuse me, get the loose puck in front of their goaltender. That's why Krulak high. They can concentrate on that first shot ball, and if they're good on the first shot, they're always going to get good help. And that's why Northern Michigan is the top defensive team in the WCHA.
And the goaltender's one of his best friends. Not only the pipe, but great play out in front like that, huh?
I never got help like that, I'll tell you that.
You were lucky if you had one guy there, huh? And it's set up now, and there's a drive. Krulak knocking it down. It goes to Ward. Ward stick-handed with the puck. Ward turns, tries to bring it out. Buffet tried and did manage to clear the zone. And it's loose down to the corner, back down to the Badgers zone. Both teams in full strength. 4 penalties called in the game. We've only had 2 situations where we've had penalties, and it's 2 aside. And it's going to be set up now. The Badgers will lead it out over to Nelson. Nelson overskated the puck, and it's going to be played back and controlled. Sabo with it. They're touting Sabo as the Rookie of the Year in the WCHA. There's a try, wide of Dirksen. Tony Sabo out of Flint, Michigan, has 28 goals in his first year in the WCHA. That's pretty good.
Awfully good season.
And it's set up down in the corner of the right side. 1-0 the score with 11:47 remaining in the second period of play. Northern Michigan back in their own zone. It's a 1-0 game. Badgers need a break here. They need a spark. That is, I'm sure, fire up the crowd a bit as well as the Badgers here. Cats taking the lead, 2:20 into the second period of action. With it is Decker. Decker played it over the line, broke it up by Wawrinka. Wawrinka, a defenseman with 16 goals on the year. And it's set up now, controlling it, and it's going to be flipped down in the corner. Of course, Sean Hill of the Badgers has 17 goals. Around at the far side, with it is Snedden. Snedden stick-handed with the puck, turning, bringing it out, trying to lead it to Richter. Richter comes in over the line, and the drop, and it's going to be turned away by Joe Frederick. Then re-intercepted by Sean Hill, who circles in the neutral zone. And Sean with it, and he'll flip it down in, and Krulak will knock it down and give it to Wawrinka. Wawrinka slipped and went down. The Badgers hold his zone. With it is Sean Hill, trying to center it. Richter right out in front. And it was blocked clear behind the net. Badgers look to get some pressure as they set it up on the right side. Richter in front of the net. And it's played down along the wing, and Dringa there to get help from Barry Richter. Working hard in the corner with Anto Snedden coming in, and it's dug out by Snedden. Snedden stick-handed with the puck. Move, shot, and a goal!
McDonald, I believe.
Doug McDonald will get the goal for the Badgers, his 16th goal of the year, and his 7th in his career against Northern Michigan, and it's a 1-1 game.
Well, when you forecheck that well and that aggressively for that long a period of time, they can't get a whistle or clear the zone, something's going to finally happen. And it got tossed out in front by Snedden and bounced off a Northern Michigan stick. Came right to Doug McDonald, and he tucked it in the far corner. The Badgers get the break. There was some hard work. Bounces off the defenseman's stick in front of the net, right to McDonald. McDonald taps it in. But that pressure was good forechecking pressure for too long, and Northern Michigan couldn't get a whistle. And the end result of that pressure is McDonald's goal. I'm sure Snedden will get the assist.
Doug McDonald has now scored in his last 8 games. He has 13 points over that span. In fact, he's now scored points in 11 games in a row now. Sean Hill was tripped up by Beatty, no call. Zant with the puck down to the corner of the right side. Zant's over to pick it up, and the puck comes loose. As the Badgers look to try and set it up for the backhander, just went wide of the net. Wisconsin down to the corner. See, they got that little spark we were talking about, didn't they, Bill?
Yeah, the momentum's changed.
And back in over the line in this 1-1 game in the second period. With it is Beatty. Look out, shot and a goal. Beatty getting his 39th goal of the year, and Northern comes right back and takes a 2-1 lead.
Just to show you how smart and how good a hockey player is, he held the puck and held the puck. He used Andringa as a screen. Andringa went down to block it, and Beatty uses him as a screen, shoots it right between Andringa's legs, and beats Dirksen on the short side. Great play by Beatty. He just has great poise with the puck. He holds it until he can use Andringa for a screen, shoots it right between his legs, and you can see back away from the play, the offside wing going hard to the net, and just after the goal goes in, they knock the net off. But Beatty with a great, great show of poise and control of the puck. 39th goal of the season. And boy, that took care of the momentum in a hurry, and it swung right back to Northern Michigan.
9 minutes, 56 seconds remaining here in the second period of play. Well, the Badgers just got to do it one more time. Get it back again. They're giving the announcement on Doug McDonald.
Give it to Doug McDonald. I find that one hard to believe. Well, that's the original goal by McDonald. I think we give McDonald for Northern to go, and I was going to say, wait a minute, Beatty got that one. Yeah, they're one behind us, right? Doug McDonald gets the goal from Snedden. Beatty will get Northern Michigan's goal.
About 30 seconds after the Badgers score, Northern Michigan comes back and they take a 2-1 lead. So the Badgers got to come from behind one more time here, and the puck goes back in behind the net. We have a 2-1 game in the second period with 9:43 remaining in the contest. In the second period, that is. And it's going to be set up, and controlling and moving it right out in front. The drive is taken by Hiller. Boy, that line of Scott, Beatty, and Hiller are pretty explosive, aren't they, Bill?
Well, they got both the goals.
And Scott turned, tried to work it toward the net. And it's going to be cleared by Parker of Wisconsin. Parker overskated. Yet Andringa and Beatty in front of the net, or Harwell, pardon me, and Beatty in front. And it comes back over, and at center ice, Carpenter played it to the line. Broke it up and driven back down in. Whistle and play is going to be stopped. Who got the assist on that last
Scott
goal?
got the only one.
Okay.
Beatty just very good with the puck and held on a nice drop pass. Put Northern Michigan back up to 1. All goals are 5-on-5 goals. 9:08 to go here in the second period. 2-1 Northern Michigan.
The goals for the Badgers by Doug McDonald is 16th of the year. Hiller gets his 18th of the year, the 39th of the year for Scott Beatty.
Boy, when you say 39 goals in one season, you're saying an awful lot.
Well, it's not like he's played 80 games either.
No.
37 games on the year. More than a goal a game in the WCHA and non-conference play. And it's going to be held in now. Controlling the puck, Warinka trying to get off the shot. He was checked from behind by Moore, picked up by Helgeson. On the lead to Shire. Right side of it to Moore. Moore tried to go to the backhander. Back of it to Helgeson. Poke checked off his stick, and back comes Northern Michigan. The center ice, Roger Sykes broke it up, knocked it down. And the puck came loose as Shire bangs it off the board. Tried to hit Moore, trailing and coming over to help out is Shire. And it's played back in behind Dirksen. Dirksen with the puck, and he's checked behind the net by Olsen. And works the wing on the far side, and
Dirksen doesn't have a stick.
The stick is going to be picked up by Helgeson, who's going to give it to him. And it's loose as they knock the cage, or the plexiglass loose, I'm sorry.
And Ward hurt a little bit. And then we got a little pushing and shoving after the whistle.
Jacques Auger over there for Wisconsin. For our commercial stations, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Cornerstone Mortgage in Marquette says, good luck, Cats. Cornerstone Mortgage for all your home mortgage needs, specializing in conventional, FHA, VA, and refinances. Call Cornerstone at 226-8022 or stop in and see them at 706 Chippewa Square, Marquette. Togo Subs in Marquette says, while you're enjoying the game, order one of Togo's fantastic subs. Call now for delivery at 226-6535 and cheer the Cats on with a famous sub from Togo's.
8 minutes, 16 seconds remaining here in the second period of play from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum in Madison. We have a 2-1 game. Northern Michigan is out in front of Wisconsin.
Of course, face-off will be just to the right of Dirksen. And really, in this period, Northern Michigan's had a lot of good scoring opportunities. There's a spurt there that they started to control the play until Wisconsin got that goal. Now they got the second goal back, and it started to dominate here with some good forechecking pressure once again.
Rick Comley was telling me before the game, I was asking him about the excitement that has been created up in Marquette, Michigan, Bill, and he said that if you want to get tickets, you got to line up as early as 6 o'clock on the Monday morning for events that are coming up. He said it's really phenomenal the way the community has responded to their hockey team. And it's great.
Well, they put on a pretty good show in their rink because they never lose.
And the face-off, and it's going to be set up, and the puck comes loose.
I suppose the fans think it's boring because they never see him lose there.
And they headman the puck up over to Richter. Richter with it. Flips down to the corner on the left side. Goes back in behind the net. 8 minutes remaining in the second period of play. The puck comes loose. Back of it to set it up. Wisconsin trying to control it right out in front of the net. Barry Richter lost it. It's back of it to Andringa. And that lead pass is knocked down and a body block there by Andringa off the drive, which had been taken by Sabo. And it's loose back of the net. Buffet got a pass off, and it went to Hiller. Hiller trying to take a shot. Hiller cleared the corner with help, and Andringa brings it off the boards on the break to McDonald, who tried to lead it to Snedden and Malone back, and it's going to be broken up and knocked down. We have a 2-1 game with 7:25 remaining here in the second period. Badgers out in front. Snedden is going to be checked from behind. Puck came loose to Granado, back over to Sean Hill. Hill took a left-handed shot.
Yeah.
He took the left-handed shot as he looked like he was going to go to the backhander. And Dringo with a drive. Gets wide of the net. Kulak is down. As the Badgers, Sean Hill tried to get some help. And it's going to be driven out of the zone and played all the way back in on Dirksen.
Great pressure there by the Badgers, and Dirksen nullifies the icing to let the Badgers come back at him again.
And coming in over the line, Granado with a drive. And
a delayed penalty against Northern.
As off goes Dirksen, and the Badgers try to maintain control of the puck, but it's going to be power play hockey on an interference call. For our commercial station, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger hockey.
Here's Jim Hakinen of UP Tax and Accounting.
We're now in our 16th year of providing UP residents with efficient and affordable tax preparation. As tax laws change, so do we, with more training and education. You may take pride in doing your own taxes, and that's fine, but unless you're keeping up with the tax law changes, it may be costing you a lot of money.
For affordable professional tax preparation, see UP Tax. They take pride in doing your taxes right.
Power play situation for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Shayakian for interference dumped Hill on the blue line, and that allowed the Badgers to keep that pressure up and now get the power play.
And remember, if the Badgers can score in the power play, Rayovac will donate $50 to Special Olympics.
But a good spurt there and forechecking pressure by the line of Snedden and McDonald and Richter, but not able to put it away. But you talk about a goaltender scrambling. He was scrambling. When you're on your knees crawling to get the backside post, you know that you played the first shot well, but then you weren't in position for the second shot.
So we have the face-off coming up now, back down to the zone of the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. And the time up on the board, 2 minutes, and an opportunity for Wisconsin to tie this game at 2 apiece.
Dean's having a discussion with Rick Comley about something, and now Coach Sauer says, well, if you're going to talk to him, you got to talk to me too.
Face-off will come up now. Eventually.
And it's not on the face-off circle, it's at the top of the circle, so the Badgers need to go forward here with the puck.
Otherwise, it might come out of the zone, is what you're saying, Bill.
And if you're Northern Michigan, you go forward.
Draw it out of the zone and make the Badgers take some time to regroup. Warinka turned, and he did exactly that. He cleared it the length of the ice. Let's see how much time that takes. That happened at 1:55. Remaining at the man advantage. So let's see, before they get it set up in the zone, how much time will elapse here. Sean Hill with the puck. We're down to 1:43. Badgers did it pretty quickly. With it is Snedden. Works it around the boards, around over to McDonald. McDonald down to the corner of the right side. And it's going to be cleared as Northern tries to bring it out of the zone. Badgers try to hold the zone. It's going to be banged to the point. And Dringo holding it in, slides it around on the left side over to Sean Hill. Back over to Wendringa, around to the right side over to McDonald. Back over to Wendringa, out on top in traffic, shot, blocked, knocked down to McDonald in front of the net. Richter is tied up. The puck came loose, and Northern is going to clear it out of the zone.
There's a war in front of the net, and that war won by Northern Michigan as they really hammered away and didn't allow the Badgers to get the loose puck.
And Dringo with it, tried to stick handle and clear. Northern Michigan comes back in over the line with a shot saved by Dirksen. Fired by Buffet, one of the penalty killers for Northern Michigan. Zent is out for the Badgers. Zent will bring it out of the zone on the play ahead. Over to Sean Hill. Deflected off his skate and is played back down to the corner.
The Badgers really moved it well, Paul. Set it up, and Ringa got the shot, but the battle in front won by Northern Michigan, and they were just more aggressive.
Zent turning, and he fired it, and the Badgers are going to ice the puck.
That's not a very good play right there. Too long a pass. Try to get Kurtz coming off on the ice, but boy, I'll tell you, it was very, very aggressive hockey after Andringa shot from the point. You really have to fight for position in front of that net. Northern Michigan probably protects their goaltender as well as anyone in the league.
They have a few fans down here this weekend watching their team. Very proud of the accomplishments of the Wildcats of Northern Michigan.
They've got a battle here tonight with the Badgers. Very, very even hockey game.
Billy Pye, their outstanding goaltender with 23 wins in the year, taking the night off. Obviously giving them a little rest as they get ready for the playoff run. And it's going to be set up and controlled. And with the puck is Sean Hill, and it's going to be taken away from behind. And coming back in over the line with it is Kurtz on the play. Around over to Granado, turns, spun, and he tried to go backdoor. Intended for Sean Hill. Hill at the point on the far side. We're down to 15 seconds remaining at the man advantage. It's going to be played back down in the zone of Wisconsin, where Andringa circles. Gives it on the play ahead to Kurtz. Kurtz looking for help. And a whistle in play is going to be stopped. 3 seconds remaining on the man advantage situation.
Well, right there, the linesman misses the offside. The Northern Michigan player brought it in the zone and back out, and now he's saying it was knocked by a Wisconsin player stick over and back, but I think that's what the discussion's about right there, that it was the Northern Michigan player brought it back in, so that caused the offside. And if that's the case, the Badgers cannot be offside, and yeah, I think right there, the Northern Michigan player did bring it back in, over and back.
Bill, how would you like to be coaching Denver and CC this weekend?
I was thinking the same thing.
And say, okay, you guys, look, let's go out and win this weekend. Let's have a great weekend. Let's finish 8th in the league. And next weekend, we get to go to Marquette and take on Northern Michigan.
And all we have to do is win 2 out of 3 in a rink in which no one has won in 2 years. You don't have to go up and win 1, you got to win 2.
4 minutes and 48.
And it's an easy trip from CC or from Denver to get there, right?
4:48 remaining in the second period. 2-1 Northern Michigan out in front of the Badgers. Goal of the game for Wisconsin by Doug McDonald, his 16th goal of the year. Hiller gets number 18 for Northern Michigan and number 39 for Scott Beatty.
That's a great reward for finishing 8th in the league.
It sure is. Colorado College may have the upper hand in that situation this weekend a bit. And it's controlled and coming to the line, played down to the corner of the right side, back over to Richter. Backhander went wide of the net with Snedden breaking to the net. And we're down now to 4:37 remaining in the second period, and the Badgers are back at a situation where they're on the equal strength basis here with Northern Michigan. The Cats kill off the power play situation.
Well, you know, people wonder how Northern won the league. They lead the league in scoring. They're the best defensive team in the league. They have the best power play percentage in the league. They have the best penalty kill in the league. They got the top goaltender in the league, and they got the #1 scorer. Now, why would that team win the league?
They have 6 of the top 13 scorers in the league.
You talk about consistency. The other games have North Dakota at Minnesota, North Dakota needing a sweep up there, and 2 losses by the Badgers. Denver at Minnesota Duluth. Minnesota Duluth starting to come on, maybe Wisconsin's first-round opponent. Michigan Tech at Colorado College.
This weekend, the final weekend of WCHA play. Bill, it's hard to believe it's gone by as quickly as it has.
Well, you might think it's gone fast, but I haven't.
Well, when you're a coach, that's a little different there. You're at the rink a lot more than we are. There's a drive deflected in traffic in front of the net, and Dirkson's going to cover up and make the save. We're down to 4:20 remaining in the second period. Badgers are 4-0-1 in their last 5 games. Northern Michigan is 14-0-2 in their last 16 games.
They're making a run similar that the Badgers made last year when they won the league championship and the NCAA championship.
Well, I'll tell you, they have a club similar to what Wisconsin had last year, don't they? They have a lot of talent.
7 returning seniors.
Yep. They have a lot of forwards who can score goals. They have outstanding goaltending.
But their key has been they've stayed injury-free. And as aggressive as they play, that's difficult to do.
Yeah, they had key people that were injured last year, like Sukharov and Brad Wawrinka. And it's going to be set up and controlled to work in the wing on the far side. And with the puck is Scott, back to the point on the drive. It's blocked and knocked down, and with it is Nelson. Trying to head-man it out over to center ice. 4:07 remaining, second period. It's a 2-1 game. Northern Michigan in front of Wisconsin. 0-0 after 1. All of the goal production here in the second. 2:20 Northern taking a 1-0 lead. Badgers tied at 9:34. 30 seconds later, Northern scores on Beatty's 39th, and we have a 2-1 game. And it's going to be set up in the corner on the near boards over to Scott. Scott is bumped, and he played it behind and then worked into Beatty as he fired it out in front, trying to go to Malone. Back over to Sukharov in the neutral ice area. On the lead, it comes to Hiller. Back in over the line, down to the corner of the left side. Hiller moving right out in front of the Badger net. Slid wide by Ward. Ward with the puck in the corner of the right side, trying to go back door over to Carpenter, picked up by McDonald. Here's McDonald back in over the line, breaking to the net is Snedden, trying to lead him, and down goes Snedden, sliding into the cage. Puck came loose, and we're going to have play stopped as Krulak is down, and Sneddon, I believe, was on top of him in the crease area.
Well, Sneddon went to the net hard and then got dumped and knocked the skates out from underneath the goaltender Krulak, and then Sneddon's in behind Krulak. Krulak flat down, and Sneddon going hard to the net trying to get the pass from McDonald. And you can see Sneddon had a step with the pass from McDonald a little bit behind him, and then you can see that Sneddon slid into the goaltender, then the shot by McDonald, and Krulak makes the save. However, it wouldn't have counted anyways. The net was off the post.
Bill, what happens this weekend if North Dakota and Wisconsin tie?
Well, right
both
now,
clubs having the same amount of points.
Right now, it would go to the goal differential in the league because they split their series and they're even 15-15 in goal for and against, so it would go to goal differential in the league.
And who has the advantage heading into this weekend?
Tied.
It was tied? Holy smokes. And it's set up down to the corner now as the puck comes loose. Center shot and a goal right out in front as Northern takes the lead.
Ward.
As Ward gets the goal, his 12th of the year, and it's a 3-1 game.
Jacques Auger just did not cover his man in front, was thinking breakout before defense, and Ward all by himself just banged that one home. Dirksen didn't have a chance. And a breakdown in our defensive coverage right there by Wisconsin. You can see that Ward all alone. And boy, he made no doubt about that one. He drilled it in the far right-hand corner.
He now has 12 goals on the year. 225 goals on the season now for Northern Michigan. Badgers have scored 150 goals and have had a pretty good year. And it's played in on Krulak, knocking it down. 3-1 the score. 2:50 remaining here in the second period of play. And Wisconsin trying to set it up on the far side. And the puck is loose in the neutral zone. As coming in over the line, Northern trying to set it up, knocking it down. Moving in the slot with a shot that's blocked and knocked down. And the puck is played down to the corner of the left side, goes behind the net. Olsen trying to center it to Shayak. And it's loose in the wing. The puck came toward the slot, and it's going to be flipped in on the corner of the right side. And Drink over to set it up. Turn tried to slide it to center right. Banged down to the corner, coming over to set it up now. Patrolling it is Andringa. Andringa trying to work it ahead. It's blocked, and it's going to be set up on the wing. Trying to move it right out in front of Dirksen. Whistle and play is going to be stopped in front of the Badger net.
You get the impression that if you don't come and work hard for Northern Michigan's coaching staff and play hard, that you probably don't get too many shifts in a game. They just keep coming at you, don't they? They work hard in both ends of the ice and throw some talent in there and some good defense and a good goaltender, and you can see why in the league they had outscored their opponents by 90 goals in the differential. That's unbelievable.
Well, we haven't seen them since back in November, but I don't know about you, Bill, but my opinion hasn't changed much.
Hasn't changed one bit. And you wanted to find out about the tiebreaker? You got it right there.
Head-to-head in games played, even. WCHA wins. Goal differential, and then winning margin.
Well, then the next thing they go to is the one-loss percentage in the league. Wisconsin at this point has the advantage there.
It'll be a lot clearer, maybe, tomorrow night, because then you'll know what Wisconsin and North Dakota did.
You know, the amazing thing about Northern, they've held the Wisconsin Badgers to only 4 goals now in almost 3 games.
That's correct. I guess you don't want to finish fourth, because even if you win the first round, you got to take on Northern in Game 1 in St. Paul. Because I'm making the assumption they're going to make it to St. Paul.
I think they probably will, yes.
We have 1:43 remaining. In fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they go well beyond St. Paul. Played down in the corner on the left side. Goes back over to set it up with it is Harwell, working behind the net, trying to go over to Beatty to set it up. Played on the wing, it goes to Hiller. And the puck comes loose, back over to Helgeson. Turn, trying to bring it out. And it's played over the blue line. Chasing it down is Moore along with Sukharov. We're down to 1:20 remaining in the second period of play. Sean Hill holding it in with a drive. It's blocked and knocked down. Badgers need a goal here to get something going. As Krulak is down, turning in the slot. Shire overskated as the puck went behind him, and it's going to be brought back in over the Wisconsin line. Working the wing with it is Flandowski on the top, trying to go to Hiller. Turned away by Moore. We have 1 minute remaining in the second period. Moore goes up over on the wing. McDonald bumped him and goes back over to set it up. As Northern Michigan now will regroup and set it up in the neutral zone with 45 seconds remaining in the period. They come in on the wing as Frederick overskated the puck. And back out to center right. And it's going to be blocked and knocked down, picked up by McDonald. McDonald with it, going up ice, and with it, Sneddon coming in on the wing. Snedden with it, works it around to the right side. Snedden trying to go to Richter in the slot. It's going to be cleared away with 25 seconds remaining. Coming in over the line, Wawrinka right out in front. And the cage is knocked out of position as Frederick banged into the goal there.
Well, he got a little help from a good hard check by Sean Hill back on the backside of Dirksen into the net. But again, it just shows you how hard Northern Michigan goes to the net. The Badgers have a good chance in the other end. Snedden goes around, and then they try to get the backdoor feed to Frederick, who did have position, but in too deep and could not get the puck as the pass just a little too late getting to him. And with 20 seconds to go, Northern just keeps coming at you. The Badgers had a good chance before, but Snedden couldn't find Richter in the high slot.
We have the 22nd mark, as Bill mentioned, coming up here, the face-off to the left side of Dirksen as he looks out.
He's had a much tougher period in this period than he had in the first. A lot more quality shots and a lot of rebounds and scrambles.
Ward got his 12th goal of the year. Beatty got his 39th, and Hiller got his 18th. Doug McDonald his 16th for Wisconsin. All of the goal scoring here in the middle period. Yeah, and the puck is loose down in the corner, goes over to Richter, working the wing. Back over to McDonald. McDonald turning, coming up ice, controlling it, coming in over the line, over to Snedden. Broken up, but it's going to be played back to the blue line of Wisconsin. We have 3 seconds remaining. We've come to the end of 2 periods of play. And after 40 minutes of action here from the Dane County Memorial Coliseum at Madison, it's the Wildcats leading the Badgers 3-1. And Bill, they're leaving very little doubt about how good they really are.
Well, I thought they picked the tempo up a little bit and were a lot better forechecking that period against Wisconsin than they were in the first period. The Badgers had a few chances, but I thought Northern Michigan started to really put some pressure on Dirksen and not only get the first shot, but go hard to the net for the second shot. And you can just see that they have a tendency to finish around the net better than Wisconsin does. And I think part of that is that they're better in protecting their goaltender than Wisconsin is.
After 2 periods of play, both goaltenders have a total of 20 saves, and the Wildcats lead the Badgers 3-1.
You can do it, Mark.
Wisconsin has a winter getaway that's just your speed. So call 1-800-432-TRIP for your free Wisconsin guidebook. They're going fast.
On the next Showtime 30-minute movie,
Daddy?
Sapphire Man. Powers Booth stars as a father returning to the daughter he left behind.
You're the only one who can help me out, Dix.
Or is he? Then, a good night's sleep is all this man wants. But there's an open window.
What are you doing?
A quest for quiet easily turns sweet dreams into a nightmare.
You want to run that story past me one more time?
Then, 2 gang members square off in a deadly game of Russian roulette to prove they have hearts of stone.
What do we do? Walks out there holding hands?
3 special films on the Showtime 30-minute movie.
Bob Lou back here at the Dane County Coliseum with your between-period programming, and the Northern Michigan Wildcats showing their scoring power in that second period. They go out in front by a score of 1-0 at the 2:20 mark of the period. Hiller's 18th goal on a tip-in, and Beatty and Scott on the assist. That's that line that's so very good for the Wildcats. Then Wisconsin comes back at 9:34. Doug McDonald from Snedden right out in front. McDonald's 16th goal, and it's a 1-1 game. Then at 10:04, right away, Northern Michigan comes back, and Scott Beatty, his 39th goal of the season, and they take a 2-1 lead. And then Northern Michigan at the 17:02 mark, Ed Ward, his 12th goal of the year. And that makes it a 3-1 game at the end of 2. In that second period, Dirksen had a total of 12 saves for a 2-period total of 20. And Krulak had a total of 8. He also has a 2-period total of 20. Well, you know, the state of Wisconsin has a lot to offer for the vacationer, a variety of events and interesting places. We found out how you can learn more about Wisconsin's heritage in talking with
Nick Moeller of the State Historical Society.
Nick, we know that the state of Wisconsin, as far as tourism, we always talk about fishing and hunting and skiing and all those kinds of things. But historically, Wisconsin is a great attraction for tourism also.
Historically, Wisconsin's fantastic. And Bob, history is the #1 reason, outside of seeing relatives, that people make leisure travel decisions in America. And here we have a state with Old World Wisconsin and Circus World Museum, and a parade on the streets of Milwaukee with 750,000 people and 800 horses, and a museum on an island in Lake Superior. You take a ferry to get there. In the museum is the light from the Raspberry Island Lighthouse and the robes from the missionaries who worked with the Chippewa Indians there. It's wonderful and diverse, and it's fun, and it's lively, and you can participate.
The interesting thing, I think, is that, you know, the State Historical Society runs how many sites itself?
We operate 6 and we own 7. And Circus World Museum is operated by a foundation under a contract to us. But it's part of the family.
And you talk about the Circus World Museum. That's taking one particular item where you go to Old World, Wisconsin, and you have everything there, don't you?
Old World with 7 different farmsteads and a Yankee village. There's enough there for people to spend 2 or 3 days if they want to, and they can participate. Next summer, we've got to replace a roof. It's a thatched roof. We've been growing fields of rye for 2 years, so we can put a new roof on this barn. It's just wonderful stuff.
Now, can people get involved in something like that?
Well, people can come and volunteer. They can contact us and they can volunteer, but they can be there when this is happening. And they can see the historic gardens and plants and vegetables that our ancestors ate. Or they can be at Old Wade House where the Carriage Museum is. Or if you come to Old Wade House, the costume interpreter will take you through and put you in the bed in the inn that people slept in. See how you like it at 5'6" and ropes.
Well, we'll find out more about what's going on as far as the State Historical Society and all these sites around the state after these messages from your local station.
James Taylor in concert.
Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine?
In his first television special.
How sweet it is to be loved by you.
James Taylor in concert. Don't miss it. Coming soon to Public TV 13's Festival.
We pledged our allegiance to it when we were young. We studied its importance when we were in our teens. We sing its praises at every sporting event. We display it when we celebrate, lower it when we mourn, and honor our heroes with it when they've fallen. It stands for what we are and what we believe in. How we treat it says a lot about us.
Talking with Nick Mueller of the State Historical Society. And Nick, as you look around, tourism in the state of Wisconsin is growing all the time, but you've got a particular project, heritage tourism. Tell me a little bit about that.
Bob, that's easy and that's fun. And when we understand that Americans make decisions to travel in part based on what they can see and what they can learn, in large part, we were selected as one of the 4 states in the nation for the National Trust for Historic Preservation to experiment in how communities can recognize what their historical assets are, prepare them for the public, market them, and have people come and visit and have fun. And it means buildings, it means what we eat. A fish boil is part of our heritage. It means our cultural traditions, it means our crafts and our arts, and we mean to look at these and build them into the entire tourism industry.
As head of the State Historical Society, do you work with communities in
We sure do. We've got 246 affiliated local historical societies. I'm part of the governor's very active Council on Tourism. We support the work that's being done. We feel that if somebody chooses to spend a week at a muskie lodge in northern Wisconsin and have a good time, they're more apt to bring their family and spend more time in Wisconsin getting to know it better if there are some heritage attractions close by they can go to. And if a convention comes to La Crosse and there are heritage attractions there, maybe they'll stay 3 nights instead of 2 And that's a 50% increase in business.
And that's bringing the people back, too, I would imagine.
And it brings them back, absolutely. The heritage tourism is part of the overall tourism package. It will reinforce the things which have traditionally been thought of as Wisconsin's drawing card. And gosh, the outdoors is good here.
You bet it is. We'll be back to talk more about historical sites in the state of Wisconsin after these messages from your local station.
I learn something every day, and every day it's different. It's exciting to find out what your neighbors might be doing, or the people down the road, or the people in Iron Mountain or Houghton, or in the Munising area. There's so many people really involved in a lot of creative, interesting things here. And it's fun. It's a very satisfying job.
The Marquette Junior Hockey Corporation will be hosting the Michigan Amateur Hockey Association 1991 Midget B State Championship at the Lakeview Arena next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 1st through 3rd. Advanced sale tournament buttons will be available at $5 for adults and $2 for students and seniors from members of the AFL-CIO Chiefs Midget B team at Skater's Edge, Johnson Sports Shop, and at the Lakeview Arena through Wednesday. Tournament buttons at the door will be $10 for adults and $5 for students.
State Historical Society. And Nick, you've got these 6 sites around the state. I know each one of those has something that attracts people, but around each one of those you have events all year.
Every weekend almost is something special, Bob. We have 6 sites in Stonefield Village with the State Agricultural Museum. If you like agricultural machinery, if you like a village out of the 1890s with all the trapping, it's there. You want to go see the fur trade and the mansion it built at Villa Louis, there it is on an island in the Mississippi River. Want to go to Lake Superior? It's ours. But we're not the only game in town either. Wisconsin has a lot more heritage than what the State Historical Society may operate. Heritage Hill at Green Bay is a marvelous attraction. Everywhere, the Railroad Museum in North Freedom, or again in Green Bay, everywhere in this state, there are things which speak to our past, and that past, Bob, speaks directly to our present.
You know, one of the things we haven't talked about either, which is a site, I would assume, is the State Historical Society right in Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, 240,000 people last year in the library alone. Genealogists from around the world, scholars from around the world, the largest library in the world in North American history, the second largest archives in the United States. It is a facility that everyone in the country who is involved with history envies.
If I want to find out where these sites are around the state and about the State Historical Society itself, how can I do that?
Well, the easy way is to call 1-800-432-TRIP, and they'll send you information. Or you can simply write the State Historical Society of Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, and believe me, we'll let you know what's happening, where and when. And if you want to plan every weekend of the summer and do something fun and different, come visit us.
Nick, thanks for all your comments.
Great to be with you, Bob. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank Nick for his comments, and we want to remind you also of the event that we talked about a couple of weeks ago here between periods. It's the 1991 Greater Wisconsin PGA Golf Expo. That's happening next week, March 1 through 3, and it's at the Waukesha County Technical College, which is just west of Milwaukee. And it's a great show for all you golfers out there. It's a show that you won't want to miss. It's I think their second year in attempting this, and that show gets better and better. Of course, right here at the Dane County Coliseum, the Badgers so far this year have not shown that they've been a team that can come from behind. If you look at the stats so far, and they've trailed after 2 periods of play so far this year. They are 0-9-0. So the Badgers, maybe tonight we can change that all around and get that first victory when they're trailing after 2 periods. Take a look at the shots attempted in the first 2 periods so far for Wisconsin. They've attempted 34 shots, while Northern Michigan has attempted 39 shots. And of course, the Badgers on the short end of everything right now. They're trailing 3-1. Hiller, Beatty, and Ward on goals for the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. McDonald and an assist from Snedden at the 9:34 mark for Wisconsin's only goal so far. But we'll be back here at the Dane County Coliseum with a wrap-up and the 3rd period of action with Paul and Bill after these messages.
Since the first day we brewed old-style beer, we've always had one goal, to be the best. That's why we still brew old style with only the purest artesian spring water and why we still use the slow method of double brewing called krausening, the most natural way to brew beer and the most expensive. There may be faster ways to brew beer, but at Old Style, our dream is not to be the biggest beer in America, just the best. Reach for the best.
Dear Rayovac, I have a complaint. My husband ordered a radio-controlled car. The car was being run all over the house, chasing the dog, chasing me. The instructions said it would only operate for 1 hour on C batteries. Your batteries lasted for over 4 hours of constant operation. 4 hours? Finally, I had to throw husband and car out. Sincerely, Barbara Freeman, Redmond, Washington.
Rayovac. Batteries that turn people on.
Wisconsin Badger Hockey. Brought to you by Old Style. Reach for the best. Old Style beer. Rayovac. Batteries that turn people on. Wisconsin Tourism Development, reminding you, in Wisconsin, you're among friends. And by Special Export Light, the light beer with body and soul.
Back at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum here in Madison, it's the Wildcats leading the Badgers by a score of 3-1. With Bill Howard, I'm Paul Brown. It was scoreless after 20 minutes of play. All 4 goals were put up in the second period, the first of which was scored by Northern Michigan at the 2:20 mark of the period, and it was scored by Hiller, matching his number with his 18th goal of the year. Beatty with his 33rd assist, and also picking up an assist was Scott, number 22 for him. And that was a full-strength goal, and the Wildcats had the lead.
Well, Hiller gets the puck at the top of the right circle and has plenty of time. Tees it up and beats Dirksen on the short side. You can't give a good hockey player that much time to tee it up, look, and fire with no pressure. That's a big difference in the hockey game, I think, Paul. Wisconsin shots have all been rushed, all under pressure, and Northern Michigan's have not.
Then Doug McDonald got his 16th goal of the year at 9:34. Dennis Snedden getting his 16th assist of the year. And the Badgers had tied the game 1-1 as McDonald got in tight and knotted the game.
Well, this was after some good forechecking pressure, and finally Northern Michigan unable to handle the pressure. And Snedden's pass bounces off a stick to McDonald, who taps it in. But that was about 30 seconds of good, hard forechecking pressure, and the end result was the goal.
However, it took about 30 seconds before Scott Beatty would score. For him, his 39th goal of the year. Also picking up an assist was Scott, for him, second of the night and the 23rd of the year. And Hiller also picked up an assist on that goal for Northern Michigan. And they sure took the momentum away, Bill, from Wisconsin.
Well, I think Beatty right here just shows that he's able to do well, and when he has Simon Ward all alone in front. Beatty's goal is he comes down, he holds onto the puck, he uses Andringa and gets a good shot off through the screen of Andringa, and Ward will come back and get a goal all alone in front of the net. Northern's got that 3-1 lead.
And Ward's goal was his 12th of the year, with Buffet getting an assist. For him, his 24th of the year. Sabo, his 18th of the year at 17:02 of the second period. And Ward getting that goal as Wisconsin now down by 3 on the Ward goal.
Well, the Badger defenseman just doesn't cover up there, and our forwards would love to be all alone in front of their net like that. But see, that's the difference in the hockey game right now if you analyze it, Paul. Northern Michigan has finished around the net. They've been much better in front of their goaltender around the net, and that's been the difference in the hockey game.
Dwayne Dirksen had 12 saves in the second period for a 2-period total of 20. On the other end of the ice, Rob Krulak had 8 saves. He had 12 in the first period. So both goaltenders have had 20 saves at this point in the hockey game. And we stand at 3-1, Northern Michigan out in front of Wisconsin after 40 minutes of play.
The deceiving thing about that is that Northern Michigan, however, attempted 25 shots, the Badgers just 16. So they started the forecheck and put that pressure on that they can do so well up front, even though the saves are even.
Got a couple of things to remind you about. One of the more enjoyable times every year for the Badger hockey fans is indeed Skate with the Badgers, and that'll be coming up this coming Sunday from noon to 4. And it's time again to cast your ballot for WHA's 7th Man Award. This is a really handsome trophy that is presented annually to the Badger player who typifies Wisconsin trademarks of sportsmanship, spirit, and maximum effort. Send your vote on a postcard by March 31st to 7th Man in care of WHA, 821 University Avenue in Madison, Wisconsin, 53706. Some of the past winners include Mark Osiki, John Weiss, and Dennis Sneddon. Saw Mark's father the other night in the Twin Cities, Tom Osiki. And he's a pretty nice gentleman who coached the Burnsville Braves for many years in high school hockey there. Taking the year off, I understand, this year.
Well, I think it's a good idea in every profession that the person gets a little leave of absence to come back or refresh.
Well, when are you due? You've been in college now for college hockey, high school hockey, for how many years now?
Well, that's 24 years
in a row
doing all these.
Would you like a year of leave of absence next year?
I'd probably get bored.
I was going to say, we could probably... Just kidding, Howie. Had it set up down in the corner on the left side, over to set it up. Sneddon goes behind the net, around over to Antos. Antos stick hand over the puck, goes back to the point of the far side. Badgers need a goal quickly here. They're down by a couple, but they need it more, I believe, from an emotional standpoint. And it's going to be played down to the corner of the left side. Northern Michigan, as Bill mentioned, they really shut down Wisconsin in this, the third game the two clubs have played this year.
Well, you got to get one early to get some momentum, get the crowd in the game. You've got to remember you've only scored 1 and 2 goals in the other two previous 6-1, 4-2 losses. Here you're looking up at the board again, and you only got 1 on the board. So you can see that you've got to get some momentum. You got to get the crowd in the game. You're in your home rink, and you got to establish that and then try to carry that into the third period.
And we'll have the face-off coming up. I believe North Dakota's getting beat. I missed.
Well, they have 1. I don't know what Minnesota has, but it's more than 1.
2-1. Latest score we had there. And it's loose down to the corner. That's important for Wisconsin. If the Badgers were to lose tonight and the Sioux would lose, they'd still be 2 points up going into the final game of the regular season. Around on the play, it goes to Ward. Ward stick hand over the puck. Ward playing it down to the corner of the left side. Goes back in behind Harwell. Harwell chased by Sabo. Northern Michigan threw it trying to go in front of the net. Went cross ice in the play. Nelson in the corner on the far side. Badgers go back. Harwell with it. Works the wing. As the Badgers, Zent is bumped in the boards. Malone held it in. Played it down to the corner. Ward chases the puck. Badgers try to get it out of their own zone. Ward trying to back in a centering pass. Loose down along the end boards, back in the Badger zone. Both teams at full strength. We've only had 5 penalties in the entire game called. And working it up ice, coming down in the corner on the left side. Gent fired it in. And it's going to be chased by Kurtz. Caromed off the boards. Kurtz is tied up. Tried to work his way loose. Kurtz with a puck down in the corner. On the left side goes to Francisco. Back of it to Kurtz. Kurtz trying to move it toward the slot. Cleared to the wing. There's a shot deflected. And Malone took Kurtz down. The puck loose. Somebody playing without a stick. And now Kurtz is going to be held. And Malone is on top of him in the crease area. And play is going to be stopped with 18:11 remaining here in the first period. And for our commercial stations, we're going to have a bit of an extended break here. So we'll take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
My days are sad, lonely.
A subtle stray.
For you, hero.
A complex character. Special export light. A light beer with body and soul. Special export light.
So they match him up. The 2-minute minor on Kurtz, 2-minute minor on Malone. And it's not going to be a power play situation. Kurtz did trip him first. Yep.
They both did go after it as you watch the replay. He took the skates off from underneath him. And so it's 4-on-4 hockey.
Benefit of the replay where you get an opportunity to see something you didn't last time around.
You correct yourself.
That's correct. And it's set up by Wawrinka. Wawrinka now circles back in the Northern Michigan zone, angled it off the end boards. It comes around to the play to McDonald. McDonald backhand to get out on the lead to Beatty. Beatty with it and comes in over the line to Hiller. Hiller trying to take a shot. It was blocked and knocked out. Back over to Wawrinka on the left side, moving it in. Shot and a goal by McDonald, I believe. As McDonald gets the goal, his second of the year, and it's 4-1.
Well, Dirksen just committed himself, went down. If he stays up, he makes the save, and he gets beat cleanly between the legs. But again, look at all the time McDonald has. He walks in from the left point, walks, gets the top of the circle, and beats Dirksen right between the legs. He had so much time with no pressure that he could walk, tee it up, look, walk, tee it up, and look, and then he drilled it between Dirksen's legs. Only his second goal of the season. And that one really hushed the crowd.
Yeah, it sure did. Pretty quiet in here right now. I think people may be a little bit stunned. They may not have believed that Northern was as good as they were. I'm not trying to say that they weren't, but they're a pretty good hockey team, and you got to remember that Drake is out of the lineup and Bill Pye is out of the lineup. Two of their better players. And it's going to be set up at center ice, broken up by Wawrinka. That's called depth, isn't it, Bill?
Well, they're a talented hockey team. I saw them against the TV game of Northern Michigan and Minnesota Saturday night, and Minnesota's a good hockey team. The first period, Northern just buzzed them. I mean, it was no contest in that first period. So they're a great hockey team, and if they can stay injury-free, they're key people. They're going to be around in the playoffs for quite a while.
We have 17 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in the game, 1:14 remaining in the penalty times. And up in the box, Sabo.
Oh, I forgot one other stat.
Pardon me, Kurtz and Malone. Go ahead, Bill.
They're also the most penalized team in the league. They lead in every category imaginable.
Face-off coming up now to the left side of Krulak as he looks out from goal.
I mean, they put it all together. They really have as a team. I mean, they're the best defensively and they're the best offensively, and that's tough to do both.
And it's going to be set up now, back of the net, going around Sukharov on the wing to set it up. Sukharov with the puck. And it comes up ice, and it's going to be knocked down. And it's played up ice as the Badgers come in over the line. Snedden with it. Tried to go on the wing to set it up. As McDonald has it, McDonald off over to Sean Hill. Sean worked it right out in front. He had Snedden break into the net, but he didn't give him the play.
Boy, Snedden wide open on the back door. Hill tried to get in for the shot rather than move the puck to the backside.
And it comes in over the blue line on the left side, and with it is Hiller trying to take a shot. It went up over the glass and out of play.
There was a great opportunity for Wisconsin, and Sean Hill elected to try to move in position for the shot rather than give it on the backside to Snedden, and he was wide open. As you can see, the goaltender, Krulak, had to play Hill, and on the backside was Snedden wide open, just couldn't get the puck to him.
We have 16 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the third period of play here from the Coliseum in Madison. 4-1, Northern Michigan in front of Wisconsin. There's a young man that's going to be happy. He's been given a puck here at the Coliseum. Big smile. Love to see that. 16:40 as the clock continues to wind down now. 4-1. As the Badgers really have been shut down pretty effectively here in the part of Northern Michigan. But they're not the only team that have had trouble against the Cats this year. Played back down in the corner on the left side. Back over to Harwell. As both teams still shorthanded a man. Wisconsin comes out of the zone. As they work the left wing, it's going to be chased down to the corner. Going behind the net is Granato. As Krulak worked it out. Granato flushed it right out in front. Zent and Sykes were there. Turned away by Buffet. Buffet working the wing. And Sean Hill chopped him and down he went. The puck came loose. No penalty call. And it's going to be dumped back to the blue line of the Wildcats, and Sukharov will watch it go by and then pick it up along the end boards. He flips it around to the left wing. They come rink wide on the play that was broken up as Shayak tried to go cross ice to Olsen. Badgers at their own blue line to regroup. Both teams at full strength. It'll be flipped down, but we'll have an icing called against Wisconsin.
Well, really, the big difference in the hockey game has been in front of the net.
For our commercial stations, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
The Gordon Flesh Company presents the best copiers in America. The facts speak for themselves. Canon, the most outstanding overall. Canon, #1 for 7 years. Canon, #1 in color copying. The Gordon Flesh Company, a commitment to service excellence for over 30 years.
15:43 remaining third period. Face-off coming up to the left side, back down to the Badger zone. And going back to that, now you're not going to be able to rest Dirksen tomorrow night because it's becoming very obvious you're going to need to win. So he's going to have to play, isn't he?
No question about it. The Badgers, if they can rally from a 3-goal deficit, they need to get one early here, and they haven't scored 3 goals yet against Northern Michigan. 1, 2, and 1.
And McDonald cuts in over the line. McDonald trying to work his way loose. Went down, got up, tried to stick handle again, deflected around over to Sean Hill with a drive. Hill with a shot. This save by Malone. The follow is saved by Malone. Richter centered it. There's a drive, and it's tipped in front of the net. The puck is loose. I think Malone made two saves.
Now you see why it's fun to play goal for Northern. You don't have to.
And Malone will dump it out of the zone. It goes all the way back. Number 44 for Northern Michigan just made 2 saves. Back in over the line.
Second one, a good save.
It's loose down to the corner. Badgers trying to set it up. Sean Hill down in the corner on the right side. The puck is loose. Hill, along with Snedden, dug it out from the corner, but the backhander tried to go back door. Richter along on the wing, back in behind the net, along with Snedden. Try to work the corner in. It's going to be cleared by Shayak, and he'll work it out of the zone, fired it on the wing. Badgers come back in over the line, trying to move in. There they pass it to Granado, and the shot is taken, and the save is made. Or pardon me, it was Richter.
Krulak was hurt on that one scramble, and he's been waiting to try to get a whistle for a long, long time. Finally dove on the puck. But there may be the difference in the hockey game right there, is when Krulak makes the first save, he's totally down and out, and in behind him, you can see Malone make 1 save, 2 saves, and the Badgers come back again, Richter on the back door, and Krulak covers up. But just unbelievable, believable protection. As McDonald got the puck into the inside, Hill keeps it in the zone. He gets it up toward the net. Krulak makes the first save. Now he's out of position.
There's one save.
Malone makes a save on Hill.
There's another save.
And then makes a save on Richter. And it's unbelievable. Now, if you're the official scorer, you've got to credit the goaltender with 2 more saves. Boy, I say that's unbelievable protection in behind Krulak.
Give a little after there.
He had run into Snedden when he got out of his net. He was out of his crease, and that's when he got hurt, and they couldn't get a stoppage of play or whistle until Rob Krulak finally covered up on him. Maybe they'll bring in Pye, and he'll sieve out, which he's done all season, of course, the leading WCHA goaltender, and allowed a whopping 3 goals in 2 games in Northern Michigan against Wisconsin earlier in the season.
Northern Michigan has not lost since December 21st.
That's not quite 2 months. Yeah, it is 2 months. Billy Pye saying, I'm enjoying my night off now. I really don't want to go in the net. You know, I played already. I played 30 games, and you've only played 5. You're going to start the game. You better finish the game, right?
Pye has the most career shutouts with 5. We can get, well, I tell you what, we'll take a break here. For our commercial stations, we'll be right back. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
Feltner Plumbing and Heating is ready when you're in need with trained, prompt, courteous service reps with 24-hour emergency service. Feltner specializes in residential and commercial repair, remodeling, or new construction, featuring the Carrier system, the ultra-energy efficient heating and cooling system, and with 36 years of service behind them, you can feel secure that the job will be done right the first time. For all your plumbing and heating needs, call 226-9751. Feltner is your authorized Carrier system dealer. We're not comfortable until you are.
Those are just some of the stats on Billy Pye, the goaltender.
And he's not
There's
playing
more.
tonight. Krulak's been good on the first shot and got lots and lots of help. And their number 3 goalie is Malone, right? He made a good save on Richter's second rebound shot. And that's a turning point maybe in the hockey game. It puts the Badgers back in it at 4-2 and gets the crowd back in the game. And that's a great defensive play.
And the face-off back in the Northern Michigan zone. The Badgers trying to set it up with it is Nelson. Nelson with the puck, and he's ridden out of the play as he went down, lost his stick. And it's loose along the wing of the Simpson, banged it off the boards, knocked down at center ice. And it's going to be flipped down to the corner of the right side. Back up to set it up. And coming back over to set it up with it is Simpson, played it out towards center ice. Bill, can I remind you of a conversation we had back in November up in Northern Michigan?
Am I supposed to remember it?
You bet. Remember when you asked me who was going to win the league and everybody laughed at me when I made my pick?
You didn't pick Northern, did you?
Yes, I did.
No.
In fact, yes, I did.
Picked
yes,
Minnesota,
No, I did not.
No, it's not on tape, so I'm sorry.
No, I did not. And we got a few sticks up high. And a little pushing, killer there, and a little action at center ice.
Granado. course, you realize that you say that after they've clinched the league, too. It wasn't brought up.
I just thought I'd remind you of our conversation, because you and I did have that talk. I can tell you exactly where it was. Sitting in Lakeview Arena on a Saturday night before the game.
Well, I noticed you brought it up, though, after they clinched it. You didn't say anything until they'd won it.
That's true. That is a fact.
Those are the kind of predictions that always come true.
13:36 remaining.
In the meantime, it's still Northern Michigan 4 and Wisconsin 1. 13:36, as you mentioned, to go. And Northern, you just get the feeling, Paul, it's very difficult to come back and score 4 goals against them.
Well, let's look and see when they've given up 4 goals in a game.
They need 5 to win.
So we'll check that here in just a moment. You want to call the play-by-play while
No,
I look it up?
I'll look it up. And
they lost 5-3 to Minnesota, and they lost 6-4 at St. Cloud. The only time they've given up more than 4. That is set up now, controlling the puck, back up to Malone. Malone with a drive, knocked down, and the puck comes loose, just inside the line, and it's going to be flipped along the boards, goes over to Francisco down to the corner. Francisco working the wing. We have 13 minutes remaining here in the third period. Northern Michigan leading Wisconsin 4-1. Back over to Malone. Had Madigan at center ice. It goes to Ward, who flipped it in. Dirksen knocking it down, and then he made the save.
They've had a pretty solid season. They have not stumbled much defensively. Everybody in the league knew they were a good offensive team. I think that what's impressed the people in the league is how well they played good team defense, and their goaltending's been good. And, of course, tomorrow night, the second game of the 2-game series.
Face-off coming up now. Back down to the Badger zone. You look at me funny. I was just looking up a stat. Northern Michigan now has the longest unbeaten string at home in the nation. 29 games in a row over a 2-year span. 12 minutes, 42 seconds remaining here now. The puck loose along the wing on the far side. Back over to set it up. Badgers working up ice. Wisconsin 4-0-1 in their last 5. And it's flipped in on the right side. Worked down the wing. And Krulak is down, and he may be hurt.
Penalty coming up against Sneddon, and Sneddon's being greeted by 3 Northern Michigan players saying, I don't think that was a very nice thing to do to our goaltender. And the Badgers are going to play shorthanded.
And Plandowski taking notice with a couple of his other teammates and saying, let's clear the corner. And Krulak seems to be okay. He's up. And
I'll say this. Sneddon's lucky because there was 3 Northern Michigan players around him, and if they wanted to retaliate, Dennis Sneddon was in big trouble. There was 3 green jerseys and only 1 white anywhere near to help. No one to help him. Sneddon will go in for checking the goaltender.
And for our commercial stations, we're going to take a break. This is Wisconsin Badger Hockey.
This is Koski's Collision Center of Marquette. They have over 70 years of combined experience in collision repair and custom paint matching. If it's a major repair or just a simple scratch, the professionals at Koski's Collision can handle it. Koski's Collision also offers Hot Sea Industrial Cleaning. It's a high-pressure system that cleans building exteriors, and it's also used in the acid restoration of masonry surfaces. They can even thaw your frozen sewer pipes. Choose the best. Koski's Collision Center, located just off US 41 across from Kmart.
We have 12 minutes and 25 seconds remaining here in the third period of play as Krulak, the goaltender, is going to get that helmet back. And
it doesn't look like a deliberate check on Sneddon. He's just trying to go for the puck, and the goaltender's there and ends up running into the goaltender. It wasn't one of those where he really ran him.
As we'll have the face-off coming up. They did call him for 2 minutes, though, and Northern Michigan's could have a man advantage situation.
And, of course, a must situation for Wisconsin here. You have to kill off this situation on the power play or the game is going to be over. You still have an opportunity, plenty of time to get back in the game if you can kill this off.
And it's going to be played down on the wing now. Back over to set it up. Warinka with it. Will work it up ice. Warinka with it. And he drives it down to the corner. Goes in behind. Rolls all the way around to the wing. And it's going to be held in by Scott. Scott trying to work it toward the net. It's going to be broken up. But it's going to be Wisconsin trying to catch up with it. Krulak came out. He knocked down Granado. And Krulak made the save in the circle.
Now Krulak tripped Granado after they raced for the puck, and he cleared it, and then hustled back to try to get on the angle for the shot by Kurtz, and was able to get back on the angle and make the save way out of his net. Long lead pass, and Granado trying to beat the goaltender for it. The goaltender won the race for the puck, and then Granado gets dumped by the goalie afterwards. And then gets back, Krulak gets back just barely on the angle to make the save.
Made the save in the circle.
He was out a ways, wasn't he? But again, a chance for the Badgers to capitalize and not able to put the puck away.
11:55 remaining here, third period, 4-1, Northern Michigan out in front. And we'll have the face-off coming up now. And the draw is going to be set up. Northern Michigan angling it off the end boards around over to Sukharov. And a whistle in play is going to be stopped. They get Kurtz.
Well, let's see what they're going to do, if they're going to match him up here.
No, I don't think so. They just got Kurtz.
No, I wouldn't say so. I learned that sometimes you shouldn't
right.
talk so soon.
You're right.
They're going to match him up.
You're right. About both points.
Kurtz is going to go in in 8-12. Buffet is going to go in, so we match him up. But with the power play already up there,
Northern Michigan penalty number 20, Mark Buffet.
there'll be coincidentals, and it'll stay 5-on-4.
Kurtz, 2 minutes each for roughing.
They don't put the penalties on the board because of the coincidentals.
So you understand they had a little trouble between Michigan and Michigan State this past weekend?
Just a little. The coaches got suspended for a game, unfortunately.
11 players got into trouble in that game?
Well, they had a little misbehavior at the end of the game.
Little?
Yeah.
My gosh. 11 minutes, 48 seconds remaining here, and it's going to be played back down to the zone of Wisconsin. And Dirksen will flip it out. It's going to be knocked down to the neutral zone. Lake Superior State is ranked number 1 in the nation. They play in the Central Collegiate Hockey League. And it's going to be dumped back down in the zone of Northern Michigan. Bill, a couple of NHL scouts have told me, I've asked them in the last couple of weeks, that in their opinion, they may be the best team in college hockey. But I'm sure the people up at Marquette won't agree with that. They think their club's pretty good.
And a few teams out east.
That's right. We have 11 minutes and 11 seconds remaining here in the third period of play. And working it up ice with it is Flandowski. On the lead to Beatty. Beatty comes in over the line on the left side. Beatty with it, turned, went to the slot, tried to take a shot, dumped to the point, where Rainka looked like he was going to tee it up, passed it out of the zone.
Should have teed it up. Made a bad pass after he
And they got to shoot, back it out to center ice, and wait for everybody to clear the zone. Sabo comes in over the line, worked it down to the corner of the right side, moved it right out in front as the Badgers will clear it, and the puck comes loose to center ice. And it's in the neutral zone over to Sean Hill with 10:33 remaining here in the third period of play. 4-1, Northern Michigan out in front of Wisconsin. As the Badgers play at the length of the ice on Krulak and Black at full strength. Both teams here now. Penalty times are up as far as equal strength is concerned. And it's going to be dumped up ice, and it's going to come all the way back down to the Northern Michigan zone. Along the end boards, around over to Carpenter. Carpenter with it, headmanning it, and his lead pass goes in on Dirksen. Dirksen flipped it off the boards on the break to McDonald. Comes to the line of Northern Michigan, broke up. McDonald turns in the neutral zone, drops it to the Badger blue line, played on the wing, intercepted by Simpson. Simpson tied up by Richter, played in behind Dirksen. Nelson back over to set it up, and we'll work it up the wing on the far side as we have 9:40 remaining in the third period. 4-1, Northern Michigan in front of Wisconsin. As the Badgers going to have to get something going offensively here in a big hurry. As Krulak works it behind his own net, and on the wing it comes to Malone. Malone on the break. They go to Shayak, and he turned and cleared it up on the far side. Going back over to set it up now, back in behind the net, comes around over to Nelson. As the puck came loose, and it's going to be played ahead, Snedden with it. Snedden came in over the line. Remember, we had the coincidental minor times up, and those penalties are still being served here. At 9:04 remaining in the third period. In the box is Buffet along with Kurtz. Down to work to get up ice, controlling it now. The puck will come loose in the neutral zone. Back in over the line, with it is Antos. On the drop, he tried to go to Frederick, taking away taken away by Helgeson. Helgeson with it now, circling, coming out of the Badger zone with it. Helgeson on the play to Sean Hill, blocked and knocked down. And it goes to Antos, back in over the line. And with it, Frederick trying to take a shot, blocked.
Penalty on the Badgers. More, I believe. He could get two. He dumped the Northern player, then he cross-checked him. And let's see what Bob Ames will call. Moore definitely has one penalty. Could get two.
8 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in the third period of play, as Northern Michigan will go back on the power play because of the tripping call, and Kurtz comes out of the box as well as Buffet.
That's only 2 minutes. So you put him back on the power play again when you're down by 4 goals. And it was a good call, and he actually could have given him another 2 when he cross-checked him after he was down. He just pitchforked him. And then once the Northern player got up, he gave him a little cross-check to go with it. It was Landowski that got dumped. And with that penalty, some of the people said, I don't think the Badgers can come back, and they're going to leave early.
And we have 8 minutes, 32 seconds remaining here in the third period of play.
You know, it's just been a solid performance again by Northern, hasn't it? It really has. Both ends of the ice.
You got to like the way they play, the way they attack the net in one end, the way they cover up at the other end. They got a lot of people that can score goals. They play good defense. And back out on top, there's a drive knocked down by Dirksen, and Scott had taken the shot. And it's going to be Scott picking it up now, backing up in the Wisconsin zone. They have 7 or 8 people who are outstanding players, and it's going to be picked up by Hiller. Hiller moved across ice in the play. Back over to Warenko with a drive. That's blocked and knocked down. And the puck is loose now as Northern tries to set it up in the slot. Granado clears it, working it up ice, controlling it. That it's going to be coming in over the line, over to this net and trying to work his way through it.
Penalty.
And he is taken down, and Warenko will go to the box.
Well, the Badgers get a little life here. They'll get a power play eventually with an opportunity to get within 2. Good effort by Dennis Snedden. It was 1-on-2, and really Northern didn't force him up early enough, and then Snedden makes a pretty good play to get around the defenseman and draw the penalty. Warenko goes in for the trip. Good effort by Dennis Snedden.
1:17 remaining at a penalty time for Moore. 7:48 remaining in the third. And it's a 4-1 game. Northern Michigan in front of Wisconsin. Howie, why didn't you tell me they were going to give me a plaque before the game started tonight?
Wouldn't have been any fun. I'd like to see you speech them. Those rare moments.
That's right. For a broadcaster, I couldn't find anything to say. And there's a drive, and it's going to be covered up by Krulak in front of the net.
Well, they're off the draw again. The Badgers get the second shot, but with all the pressure around, it's not a clean second shot ball, and they can't get the puck back. That's the goaltender, Krulak, after McDonald and Richter both the chance on the loose puck.
I'll get even with you for that, I'll tell you. Somewhere along the line, I'll get even with you.
I don't think so. You're running out of game.
7 minutes, 42 seconds remaining. It's been a good run. I've enjoyed it. It's been great for me.
Now, you and I never have any fun anymore.
Oh, yes, we do. Face-off coming up, back down in the zone of Northern Michigan. And we'll have that draw coming up. Badgers will have that power play situation coming up. About 1:11 remaining on the penalty time, and then they'll have the man advantage for 44 seconds. But they need 3 goals to tie this game here. And there's the drive. It's wide of Krulak. And it's set up by McDonald over to Sean Hill. That was a nice shot, but it went wide. Back over to Endringa. Played the wing. Malone broke it up. And it's going to be driven back out to center ice. 7 minutes, 28 seconds remaining here. And it's picked up, and controlling it is Antos coming in over the line. Antos working the wing. On the play, it goes to Malone. Malone tried to work it to Landowski. Landowski went behind the net on the play. Around over to Sean Hill. We have 7:12 remaining. The Badgers are going to have a man advantage in about 35 seconds. Northern Michigan leads it by a score of 4-1 here in the Coliseum at Madison. Here's Buffet on the backside. Buffet in over the line. Shot and a goal by Buffet. His 15th goal of the year, and it's 5-1.
And it's an even strength 4-on-4 goal. Their second 4-on-4 goal of the night. Buffet just comes in all alone, and he picks the smallest area to score. I mean, it's a great shot. He's coming down the right side, and again, he's got time. And he just beats Dirksen high in the upper corner. Look at him just pick that upper corner ball from a good angle, coming down hard on the right side, and just a great shot. He just rips the upper corner and Northern Michigan winning this one convincingly. Tees it up, upper corner, gets Dirksen to commit. Dirksen started down first. He made the early commitment. Good heads-up play by Buffet. He made the commitment on Dirksen and then beat him in the upper corner. Faked it and then got Dirksen on the way down and drilled him up high.
Everybody's leaving, and I think everyone's convinced, Bill, that Northern's pretty good. They go by us here at the end of the rink, and they kind of give you that sigh or that, can you believe this? Yes, you can. Is there any doubt in your mind they're the best team you've seen all year?
And the best team in the league. No question.
And it's played back of the net now, around down in the corner on the wing. As Kurt's over to try and set it up. 6 minutes, 27 seconds remaining here. Whistle and play is going to be stopped as the cage is knocked out of position.
And the Badgers on the power play for the third time in the hockey game, where they are 0 of 2 and on the season, 2 of 16 against Northern.
6 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. And remember, when Wisconsin is on the power play, if they can score a goal, it means $50 to Special Olympics from Rayovac.
Buffet gets the goal, and Antos gets 1 assist, and Sukharov gets the other assist. And Northern with a commanding 5-1 lead, and they've done it all equal strength. 4-on-4, 2 goals, and 3 5-on-5 goals. McDonald's only goal for the Badgers that tied it at 1-1 midway through the second period.
Yeah, it was 0-0 after 1. It was 3-1 after 2, and now 5-1 here in the third with 6:25 remaining. Same 2 teams tomorrow night. Be interesting to see what North Dakota does. If they lose to Minnesota, the Badgers would remain 2 points up in that battle for third place. Coming in over the line, controlling the puck now. As they go on a play to Plandowski, the rebound went right out in front. It's going to be blocked and knocked down. And the Badgers work it up ice. Potential 2-on-1. Malone back alone, moving it in. Shot hit the pipe. Well, it's been one of those kind of nights. John Hill had the shot. Bill, the Badgers, remember early in the game, they missed those 2 open nets. They had the Barry Richter on 1 in particular, had an opportunity to score. In fact, he really had 2 opportunities to score. Back the other way, look out, here's Beatty. Beatty moving it in on the drop. He went to Plandowski, who took the drive, and the save was made. But you know, you score those first 2 goals, and it's an entirely different situation.
Well, and you're still not out of it when Malone makes those 2 saves. Yep. I mean, you still have a chance to convert there to get back in it. You know, and again, it's just the ability of them to put the puck away. But when you look at all the goals that they've scored, Paul, in all of them, they've had time to shoot the puck. And Hill had a good chance there, hit the near side post. But you look at all the goals, they had time to tee it up, look, and shoot the puck. And Wisconsin's been pressured most of the night when they've had the shot.
Face-off coming up now to the right side. Back down in the zone of the Badgers here with 5 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the third period. Northern Michigan on the way to the win here, 29th of the year. And it's going to be knocked down and coming back over to set it up in the corner. Badgers with a loss would drop to 24-10-3. Northern would be 29-5-4 on the season. And they would continue to have only 3 losses in the WCHA. They'd be 24-3-4. And it's going to be set up now down on the wing on the near side, back over to set it up. As the 4-goal margin, Northern Michigan now with 52 points in the league. What did you say back on that Northern Michigan weekend? What did you say? What total would win the league?
I don't even remember. 8 or 9 losses, I figured. They're not even be close to that.
And it's set up, and it's going to be controlled.
Rebound to go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Beatty gets it.
Yeah, you can see it coming, couldn't you?
Beatty got his 40th for Scott in front. It may have been Scott.
Well, Dirksen makes 1 save, 2 saves, and it's either the 3rd or 4th shot that goes in. And let's just point out again the difference of the play in front of the net.
Yeah. And
the ability of Northern Michigan to go to the net and get the loose puck. I think Beatty got it after.
If Beatty did get it.
See, Dirksen makes a great sprawling 2nd save right here. That did not go in, and then Beatty does get the rebound. He makes an unbelievable save on
That's
Scott.
number 4-0 on the year. 40 goals.
You see the save that Dirksen makes on the shot? Right there on Scott. Just an unbelievable save, and then Beatty taps it in.
That's his best goal of the year.
Yeah.
Probably his easiest goal of the year. 40 goals on the season for Beatty. 2 tonight. And it's 6-1. with 4:39 remaining in the third.
And they just keep coming, don't they? I mean, they don't care what the score is. But you know, and you got to give a lot of credit to Rick Conley, his coaching staff, and the players. They combine talent with real hard work. And you win with talent, and you win with hard work. You don't always win just with talent. And you can't win just with a hard-working team. But they've been able to do both. And you notice the thing here is what lines out there, how hard they work.
Yep. At both ends of the ring. And 4 minutes, 39.
I've always said this, Paul, doesn't take any ability to work hard.
You always have. You didn't pick that up from somebody.
No, I coached for a while.
That's a Bill Howard original?
I coached for a while, and I said, hey.
Is that really an original?
You better work hard.
What other originals did you have?
Some you probably wouldn't want to know about, nor can I repeat.
Here they come again. That's another one. You, I think, you better when you ring.
That's when I was playing at CC, and I wanted to go home.
4 minutes.
Dirksen just got checked, so maybe we'll get an equalizing penalty here.
Out.
Jacques Auger, he's pretty upset. We got a little after the whistle activity. Linesman doing a pretty good job tonight, I'll tell you that.
Jacques Fan Club is right down there in the corner.
But see here, I think the initial penalty was on Northern, and then Jacques, well after the whistle, goes after a Northern player, and just does a few more things, like flash the player on the way to the box that are uncalled for.
Now he elbowed the linesman.
I'd say that the initial penalty was wiped out by Jacques Auger's action after the whistle. And the initial penalty, I believe, was on Northern for checking the goaltender. Mark Olson checked the goaltender.
That wasn't a very classy move.
See, Dirksen goes out to lead the puck. He's out of his crease, leads the puck, and you can see, well, Dirksen braced it, but he braced for the check, but the player can't interfere with the progress of Dirksen going back to the net. And they give him that penalty. And then well after the whistle, Jacques Auger, for really no reason, gets up and goes after a few people.
Jacques Fan Club, we were told, down in that neck of the woods, in that corner of the building, and the reason they picked him to have a fan club for him, according to a guy stopping by tonight telling me that he's had the best hockey name the Badgers have had in the last 3-4 years. So they decided to have a fan club for him.
Well, he's going to get at least 2 penalties out of this. We'll see what else he gets. And it's all academic, as Northern Michigan has just been totally dominant here in about the middle of the second period on. Remember, they started to pick it up. It was a very, very even hockey game, and you could see the frustration of Wisconsin. They couldn't complete the plays in front of the goaltender when they had the good chances. Pretty soon, Northern Michigan started to put it away. Olsen gets illegal contact with the goaltender. Jacques Auger will get 5-minute major for high sticking after the whistle on the way to the box. Okay, so he just gets the 5-minute major for high sticking. He probably would have got just the 2 minutes for roughing, but they gave him the 5 instead.
So we have 4 minutes and 21 seconds remaining here in the third period of play. It is 6-1 Northern Michigan here at the Dane County Memorial Coliseum.
And these penalties really don't have a real bearing on the game at this point. Has the game well in hand with Northern Michigan. Up 6-1.
I think Mark Olson and Jacques Auger are still talking over there, and I think the indication was, look at the scoreboard, Jacques.
5 unanswered goals by Northern Michigan after Doug McDonald from Wisconsin had tied it up at 1 apiece. But you know, it's the third game that Wisconsin's played against Northern. They scored 1 goal, 2 goals, and 1 goal. And I'll tell you, you aren't going to win many hockey games if you're averaging less than a goal a game, or less than 2 goals a game against a quality team. But the chances were there early, as you mentioned, Paul. And Northern Michigan just played good, sound defense, and their goaltender made some good saves. And the Badgers missed a couple open nets, turning points of the game. And the Badgers had the chances and then couldn't put it away early.
Imagine that, 24 games this year, they've scored 6 or more goals.
You don't lose when you score 6 or more goals.
They only came in with 228 goals on the year.
Yeah.
So Jacques going to have to leave the ice because he did get the 5 minutes. And he skated by the Northern Michigan penalty box area.
And the Northern Michigan player, Olson, just said, look at the scoreboard, we're done. Well, that's not too good a scene. And it'll be 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, and then the game will end on a power play for Northern Michigan. Minnesota has defeated North Dakota 4-1. However, with the score the way it is, even with that loss, North Dakota is ahead in the tiebreaker goal differential by 2.
That's because the Badgers have given up 6 here tonight.
That's right, and so now you've got to be concerned here with the rest of this game by not allowing any more goals.
And they're going to have a 3-minute power play out of this, too.
So it
they
becomes
can score all kinds of goals.
It becomes important for Wisconsin to get the message to their people that, hey, we're losing 6-1, but the goal differential becomes important right now, and you've got to shut the door for the remainder of this hockey game, and you've got to work at it.
Because, Bill, I think the Badgers have their hands full tomorrow night, too.
And probably so does North Dakota.
Minnesota is going to finish second in the league. Northern Michigan has won it. Minnesota is officially second in the league. That has already been decided. 4 teams with home ice are going to be North Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Northern Michigan. Denver and Colorado College still battling for that 8th spot. Tech's going to finish 7th in the league. Minnesota Duluth is going to finish 6th in the league. And it's going to be set up now. Stick handed with a puck coming up ice. St. Cloud will finish 5th. And coming back over, controlling it now. We have 4 minutes and 3 seconds remaining here in the 3rd period of play. Both teams are shorthanded a man, but in 1:39, we're going to have a 3-minute man advantage for the Wildcats.
See, you still have to keep things in perspective if you're the Wisconsin coaching staff and the Wisconsin players, because the goal differential now in the league becomes the prime factor if you can't get a split here tomorrow night. And the result is, if you win the first round of the playoffs, you've got to play Northern Michigan then if you finish 4th in St. Paul. And I don't think Wisconsin wants to play Northern Michigan again.
And the face-off for the draw is set up. Well, you'd eventually run into them somewhere, even if you would play Minnesota in the first game up in St. Paul. You'd assume that Northern's going to be in that championship game unless they get upset.
Well, what could happen if the other team is North Dakota? I think North Dakota matches up against Northern better than anybody else in the league.
And it's going to be set up now. Stick handed with a puck with 3:35 remaining here. And North Dakota has got some of their people back. A little more healthy than they've been at, say, the latter stretches of the season. And I believe North Dakota's won 10 of their last 13 games, I was reading earlier this week. We have 58 seconds remaining here in the 3rd period, or pardon me, in the penalty times. We have 3:14 remaining in the game. Northern Michigan leads at 6-1 here at the Coliseum. And the puck comes in over the line, controlling it now. On the drop from Granado. It's going to be taken away. Warenka with it. Dennis Nedden harassing him a little bit. Warenka will bring it out of the zone, comes up ice in the play. Warenka hustles in over the line. It's loose now, back in behind the net. We have a 6-1 lead, and the Badgers are going to be shorthanded for the next 3 minutes in 24 seconds. And it's going to be set up now. With it is Sabo, dropping it back to Sukharov. Sukharov with it, works the wing on the far side. Back to Sabo. Down he went. Sean Hill bumped him. And it's going to be power play hockey now in 5 seconds for 3 minutes, assuming no penalties are called in Northern Michigan.
You can only give them 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's all that's left of the game.
That's correct. And it's going to be set up now with the 2:13 remaining. 6-1 the score. Comes back over to Malone. Malone with it now. Malone out toward the blue line. Over to Plandowski. Flips it behind the net. We're down to the 2-minute mark remaining here in the 3rd period. And it's 6-1. The Wildcats out in front. They'll be 29, 5 and 4 on the year. The Badgers will be 24, 10 and 3. And it's going to be set up. 2 goals tonight for Beatty. Now has 40 on the year. Hiller has 18 on the year now. Ford has 12. Also scoring for Northern Michigan tonight is McDonald, and McDonald got his 2nd. Buffet is 15th. And Doug McDonald scored for Wisconsin, his 16th of the year. And we have 1:22 remaining in regulation time. 6-1 the score. Warenka back on the play over to McDonald on the lead. Coming in over the Wisconsin line is Hiller. Back to the point of the play. And the puck loose just inside the line. They come around to the right to Warenka. Goes back door. Over to Beatty with a drive. Beatty with a follow. Try to go to the backhander. Cleared down in the corner. And 1 minute remaining in the game here at the Coliseum. as it's going to be set up just inside the line. They work the wing, still with a man advantage for Northern Michigan. Back out on top. A shot is fired wide of the net, and the puck is loose. Kurtz trying to backhand it out, and he does as he clears the zone. Krulak is going to pick up the win. He'll be 4-2 on the year for the Wildcats. Badgers puff it up and get it right out in front. Kurtz with a drive, and the puck is loose with 30 seconds remaining. Granado with it. Tried to move it toward the slot, and it's played back to the net now. Coming back over to set it up, McDonald went behind the net on the play. And coming over to set it up, Beattie tried to bring it out. Krulak is bumped in front of the cage. Kurtz is taking a man down, trying to work his way loose. He's held on to. Oh, and Krulak got hit.
Accidentally by Kurtz's stick because McDonald wouldn't let loose of Kurtz's stick. And finally, a whistle is blown, and I think there'll be a penalty against McDonald from Northern Michigan for holding Kurtz's stick. See, Wisconsin with a great chance there. Hill's all alone in front of the net. And Granado doesn't get the puck to him. And you say, well, what difference does it make? Well, the goal differential will be down to 1.
That's right.
If he makes that pass and he hangs on the puck too long, he doesn't make that pass, and the consequences are you're down by 2 in total goals. And you've got to, that's got to be a serious thing for the Wisconsin team to think about now, because you're in a situation where if you don't win tomorrow night and North Dakota doesn't win, and that's what the tiebreaker comes down to.
Well, if you don't win,
North Dakota's got to win.
Right.
They got to win tomorrow night, but it becomes a factor if North Dakota wins tomorrow night, and you got to keep an eye on that scoreboard.
And the face-off will come up with 11 seconds remaining here in the.
The Badgers still have the 2-point cushion, but if North Dakota gets a split and the Badgers don't beat Northern, then the goal differential becomes critical.
Played back to the net with the game coming to an end, and it is the Wildcats of Northern Michigan beating the Wisconsin Badgers 6-1. Bill?
Well, I think you can see why they're the number 1 team in the or number 2 team in the nation, number 1 in the WCHA. Krulak does a steady job in the nets for him. They had to stop the first shot. Wasn't in great position for the second shot, but what great team defense they play in front of their goaltender. We talked about it numerous times. I mean, to the point where you got guys playing goal for them. But I mean, they really played a solid effort in front of their goaltender, and it's only his 5th or 6th game of the season, Paul. But that team just plays good defense, and their goaltender only has to stop the first shot.
Bill, what does a game like this do to Wisconsin psychologically?
Well, I think you got to sit back and you got to analyze the whole situation and maybe take a look at your lineup and say, hey, you know, maybe we've got to get different people against Northern Michigan and the Minnesotas. If you analyze it, Wisconsin against North Dakota, Minnesota, and Northern, it's just 2-8-1. They've been able to do well in the other games with the other teams, but the North Dakotas, the Northerns, and the Minnesota, they're just 2-8-1.
Well, you got probably Tucker and Plant, who will be in the lineup tomorrow night, I would think.
And Trey Toomey probably will be in there, but I think you got to take a look at the combinations. I think you got to get the puck to Jason Zentmore if you're a Wisconsin. If you're Northern Michigan and Rick Comley, you go in and you say, great job, guys, let's come tomorrow night and do it again. They don't have to make any adjustments or changes. They were very, very good.
On the other end of the ice, talking about goaltending, you made the point a little bit earlier, and I think it's a good one. Rick Comley may rest Billy Pye again tomorrow night.
Well, I don't see any reason not to be very honest with you. You got 3 playoff games at home against the last place team. Pye can play one of those and be ready for St. Paul, and maybe get Krulak in for the other one. And you know, I don't know. I guess it would depend on Billy Pye. He might want to say that he doesn't want 2 nights off to keep that rhythm and so on going.
Well, let's go down now to the coach that's won the WCHA regular season championship, and Bob Lou. Bob?
Down here at ringside, Bob Lou with Rick Comley. And Rick, you guys just keep coming at you tonight. I mean, you've got 4 lines and everybody keeps coming.
Oh, it's a good win for us, Bob. You know, we did leave Dallas Drake at home, who was a great player for us, but all year long it's been a situation where people step in and play well, and tonight our young goaltender stepped in and played very, very well.
One of the things that we've got to do before we let you go is congratulate you on winning the WCHA title in the Mid-Naughton Cup.
Well, it's much appreciated. We're very proud of that trophy. We worked hard. Our fans got to enjoy it. You know, it was a perfect scenario for us, and now we have to keep it going.
One of the things about keeping it going is, what did you talk about coming into this series? Because really, if you look at it on paper, there's not much for you, but there is a lot for you, isn't there?
Well, there is, but you can only tell your kids to come to the well so often.
Right.
We really backed off and didn't practice much, and just relied on their showing up, and all year long they've done that, and we've had lots of pressure the last 3 weeks, and I didn't want pressure this weekend. I want to win, because it certainly affects NCAA standing, but you can't put a gun to their head every weekend.
You know, the interesting thing is, of course, 2 goals by Beatty tonight. He gets his 39th and 40. He's quite a player.
He's a great player. And, you know, certainly is a prime candidate, I think, for the Hobie Baker. And, you know, everybody knows about him. It's not that he's a secret. He's there, but he just puts good shots on goal.
And he does an excellent job of just moving around all the time. And all your lines do that. You have practiced that, obviously, all year long.
Well, we're not fancy. We get up and down the ice, and we try to move the puck pretty well, and we have a lot of good players. I mean, good attitudes and good players.
And we saw a goaltender that only came in tonight with 3 wins and 2 defeats.
Yeah, well, he's our goalie of the future, and this is a good place to give him a baptism under fire.
Rick, thanks for stopping by and talking with us. Best of luck to you. And now we'll go right back upstairs to Paul and Bill.
And, of course, Rick is the athletic director, so he's got double duty, not only as head coach, but taking care of the administration of the athletic department up at Northern Michigan. And I think this club's going to be tough to beat as you could wind down through the remaining part of the season.
Well, if they come out of St. Paul and win 1 or 2 games up there and they get the home ice, Paul, who's going to go into their rink and beat them? I mean, nobody's been able to do it in 2 years, and an impressive performance on the road. And that's been the big rap on them in the years past, that they haven't been able to win games on the road. And yet they come in and are very, very impressive here from top to bottom, both defensively and offensively.
And they win it tonight by a final score of 6-1.